Fucking metal, yeah! 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 It's time for Midnight Metal 2, episode 2, yeah! You know, to be honest, I this was just a one-off from last night, but Roberto Suarez sent me art, he sent me music, Xevious sent me art, other people sent me art. I was like, why not we, you know, it can't be like Rip with Rob. I can't be getting drunk all the time. You know, I don't want to be like double fisting. I don't, you know, not like that. I'm cutting down on the alcohol intake, clearly. Got my glasses on, got my orange glass. I brought the orange glasses back. Tonight I got a new freshly shorn look. I got no product in it, but you know, it's Elizabeth. We have our own hair salon here, so I don't have the Hessian like metal hair I had, but you know, still metal. But yeah, I came to I came to get metal with all y'all. So there it is. I've got my Voodoo IPA, Voodoo Ranger. I don't have the Dragon's Milk, which is too expensive, but hell yeah. So what is up, my brothers and sisters of metal? Woohoo, I'm drunk, says Kenneth Colton. Yeah, it's Friday night, baby. Sending my metal love to you, Rob. Yeah. You know, it's pretty funny. I mean, I honestly, I kind of feel that I need to have Dieter Bastian here. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to send him a link. I'm going to send Dieter Bastian, who's in Saarbrücken, Deutschland. And I think he might be here. I'm gonna get him on this show because no one is more metal than Dieter fucking Bastian. That's right. I'm going to call him up. Actually, I'm not going to call him up, but I'm going to send him a link. I'm going to send him a link right now because I can do that. I have the power. I have the power of doing whatever I want. That's the beautiful thing with technology. We'll see. We'll see if Dieter will respond because, you know, he can sing better lyrics than I can. You know, although I'm wearing The Cure, which isn't really metal. But The Cure and The Exorcist is metal. Yeah, it is. That's right. So let's see. I'm copying this. I'm sending Dieter a link right now. We'll see if Dieter can get on and he'll talk some metal. So how was your Friday, everybody? Did everybody watch the Falcon and Winter Soldier? Did you dig it? I don't know. So let's see. I'm sending Dieter a link. Maybe he'll get on. Show link. Metal. Yeah. I'm sending it to him right now. We'll see if I can get him on from Germany. Why not? And if not, how about just some of you random dudes out there or dudettes? Let's see, Dieter. If you are here, my friend, or if you're watching, you have a link. You have a link. Xevious is here. Xevious did the most metal artwork ever that you saw at the beginning of this show. Thank you for that, Xevious. He's a genius, actually. Xevious is a genius, and we're going to get back to work. We're going to get back to work. Money will exchange hands. It's going to be metal, dude. Things are happening on that front, which is good. So we'll see. I mean, I don't know if Dieter's going to link up here, but we'll see. We'll see if he does. I don't know. He's not ready. He hasn't set up for the show, but hey, you know. So I don't even know. I guess it's really, I don't have an agenda. I don't have an article to read. I'm just here for you to talk about whatever. What are we talking about? I don't know. People have been sending in. I wasn't even on. You guys are sending in chats and stuff. I mean, I can't. You guys are the best. Thanks for supporting the channel. I can't believe it. Let's jump in and see what you guys are even saying. I don't know. Gosh. Wow, you guys. Wow, you guys. I can't believe it. Robert Conrad says, hello from Portland, Oregon, Rob. Portland is kind of a metal town. Definitely alt rock, but it's so metal there. So Robert Conrad says, hello from Portland, Oregon, Rob. I am so baked, and I can't stop laughing. Yes, that's what we're talking about here. It's late night. It's time for a Wake and Bake, ladies and gentlemen. A Wake and Bake with Robert Conrad. That's right. Glad I'm here. Drinking my favorite Ninkas. Wait, Ninkasi Tricera hops. Ninkasi Tricera hops double IPA. So cheers to you, Rob, and the Post-Geek Singularity family. Do you think they will ever make a Thundercats or Silverhawks movie. Ooh, a Thundercats, or you really are baked. I don't know, man. Do you want a Silverhawks or Thundercats movie? I guess so. I'd go to see a Thundercats movie. There is designs. Someone was going to do a Thundercats movie. Oh, wait, Elizabeth is sending me messages. What is she saying? I don't know. We're going to find out. Is Elizabeth metal? He's already here. Are you okay? Gilbert wants to go out. That's what I got. That's what I got from Elizabeth. Oh, look who's here. Oh, my God. Let's put him in the chat. That's right. All the way from Saarbrücken, Deutschland. Hang on. I know. I got to hang on. Hold on. That's not it either. Hold on. Can you hear me now? Yes. I can hear you. Can you hear me? All right, dude, I'm gonna, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna put you in this chat, dude. You're coming in. Hang on. Deutschland, Saarbrücken. What? What do you mean, what the hell? Don't tell me what the hell. It's late night. It's hang on. They can't hear you. I gotta put you in the chat. I gotta get you in here. Hang on, I'm taking you out, and I'm gonna put you in. Taking out this stuff. This is on the fly. This is producing on the fly, ladies and gentlemen. Television producing on the fly. There you are, my beautiful German mate. Let's put you in. And here you go. Look, everyone, say hello to Mr. Dieter Bastian, my favorite German, all the way from Saarbrücken, Deutschland. Dieter, how are you?
Good morning, my friends. Rob, this is an not unordinary time here.
It's fucking metal, dude. You're the most metal guy I know.
Yeah, Rob, what is it up with this hashtag metal? Hashtag Rob metal. Everything is metal now.
You know what? Why not? You know what? The world is metal because we have the Snyder Cut. The Snyder Cut is here. Not only do we have the Snyder Cut, we have the black and white Snyder Cut. What is more metal than that? My God. Yes. Fucking metal.
Correct. The black and white.
You know, on our show, I mean, come on, how black and white is that? I mean, black and white is metal, isn't it?
Yes. Of course.
I don't think you're in the spirit of the show right now, Dieter. I think I need a little bit more oomph from you.
Yeah, but it's in the morning, just woken up, and you already want to have me on 180. I believe here.
Goddamn right!
180 miles.
Did you stay up all night and do cocaine off a hooker's ass? Come on!
No, I watched Dota on Thursday, Rob. It was great.
You did. Well, let's
binged it all the way through.
Let's pull back for a moment. And since you watched Dota, what did you think of it?
I loved it, Rob. It was really great. Favorite episode was episode 5. I would say, but I don't want to give anything away. What was episode 5 was about? Binged it all the way through on Thursday. All episodes, just like it should be.
Did you stay through the credits and see my name 8 times?
All the credits are always running. I don't make skip. I don't watch credits, leave a roll. And yes, I saw your name.
Okay, that's good. Yes,
times.
Yeah, you don't have to say that. It's fine. I know you did. I know you're lying, but it's okay.
But Rob, since the show is for your more for your viewers, I will stay only on 5 minutes because we have a show tomorrow.
What do you mean you're going to stay only on for 5 minutes?
I can stay longer, but isn't it more for you to interact with the people in the live chat?
Yeah, but dude, I made this show up last night. This show can be anything I want.
I was working at my early shift, and then Rob is doing a live stream right now. What is going on here? It was totally unexpected.
Well, I mean, don't you think it's more fun? Louis Terraza says, I owe you a letter, Robster. Man, I don't know how the hell I found Campia, but I'm so glad he has you on there. You both have literally saved my life during COVID. That's very nice. Thank you for saying that. But we're better off that you're here, Louis. I knew you'd come through, man. 2020 was rough, but movies are my escape. Louis, thank you for supporting the channel, but more importantly, thank you for still being here, sir. You know what I used to tell people? Dieter, you know what I would say to people when they told me that they were depressed, like in junior high and high school? Like some people
Listen
even
to
told
good
me...
music. Listen
No,
to
no,
good
no,
music.
no, no. I used to tell people
No.
that whenever somebody would say they were like suicidal or something, I'm like, you have to stay here because you have to see, no matter how bad it is right now, it can always get worse. And don't you want to stick around and see just how bad it can get? That was not good advice. But then one time, a friend of mine came up to me sometime around high school graduation, and my friend said, you know what? You were right. It did get worse, but then it got better. And he was still here, and I felt pretty good about that. So, Louis, I want to thank you for still being here. And remember, as I've said on this show many times, and Dieter, you have to agree with me, the most precious thing on this planet is each one of us. There's only one of us.
Was.
So you might think you're some schlep rock or that you're not worth anything, your life means nothing. You can't think that because you're the only one of you in the entire infinitude of the universe. And if you just walk around with that in your mind, how cool is that? There's only one of you. Like there's only one Dieter Bastian in the vast infinity of the universe. There's only one Louis.
But
Louis Terrazas is one of them. Just one.
But I don't know if I metal Rob, because unlike you, look at this. There is no more hair.
Dude, you know what? One day you just shave the rest off. And if you shaved on that would be metal.
Then it's metal. Then it's
Dude,
metal.
you know what?
Okay.
Metal is a state of mind. You don't need clothes. You don't need accoutrements. Metal is a state of mind. If you can still bang your head as old as we are, that's fucking metal. That's what metal is. Metal is a state of mind, Dieter. It means it is a state of mind.
All through my whole life.
Goddamn right. You know more about metal than I do.
Have you compiled your 666 list?
I'm working on it.
Okay.
People keep sending me new songs, but I am.
How long will you make this list?
I don't know. The thing is,
at some point you have to stop, Rob. At some point you have to stop.
So for those people who might not know, the 666th episode of Robservations is coming, and I am making a satanic playlist of all devil music. And people have sent me in, but it's all kinds. It's not just metal music. It's jazz music. There's even a great Duran Duran, their offshoot band, Arcadia, did a song called El Diablo. That's on there. Anything to do with the devil. People have been sending me in songs that I'm going to make. I don't know. I can't make a 666 song playlist. I'll probably just do 100 or something. Or you know what?
I'll make it 66, Rob. Just 66.
Yeah, maybe 66. Maybe that's what it'll be. And you bring the last 6, whatever that is. That's what I'll say. Here's
everyone's already gotten my playlist on Let's Get Physical.
I know. I'm gonna turn that into its own little video. I got to break that up. Andrew Christie says, I saw Nobody, the movie Nobody, at the AMC 15th Century City today.
Bob Odenkirk.
Yeah, so great to go back to the theater. I really hope they stick around. Metal has morphed and is now synonymous with awesome. So dare I say it, nobody was fucking metal. Yeah! I can't wait to see that movie. It looks really good.
Yeah. And, Rob, considering my county, after Easter, they want to open up theaters, gyms, and so on.
But Angela Merkel, man, she's like, isn't she? Aren't you guys in the middle of another outbreak or another?
Yeah, but they're always switching things around, lockdown light, and back and forth. But my county wants to open after Easter restaurants. If you have a fast testing that shows you're COVID-free for the last 24 hours, you can go to restaurants, theaters, and so on. But the only thing, considering even the theaters are open here, what new stuff can they play? Right.
Well, I can talk to a theater chain and we can get Tango Shalom to open in Germany. I can play that.
Okay.
You know who's here? Guess who's here, Dieter? Black Phillip Alvarez.
Why doesn't that surprise me at all?
Black Phillip Alvarez is here. Black Phillip Alvarez says, how many people here either took a nap or pre-gamed before the show? Fucking metal, man! Let us be for once. Fuck it. Well, thank you, Black Phillip Alvarez, which is good. I like that. Kenneth Colton says, woohoo! I'm drunk. It's Friday night, baby! Sending my metal love to you, Rob. Yeah, that's right. So isn't this fun, Dieter? I know you just got up, but didn't you think that I'm going to get up right now so Rob Burnett can shout in my ear? Is that what you wanted me to do?
You're blasting my ears.
Blasting your ears, as the way it should be. Scotty McPherson sent in a super chat and says, hey, Rob, why are his movies so poorly cared for? The T2 4K disc has no special edition, no 4K Terminator, Titanic, Aliens, or Avatar. There's no Blu-ray of The Abyss or True Lies at all. Well, it's funny you say that, Scotty, because if I reach behind me right now and I pull out this Dieter Bastian's Blu-ray of The Abyss Director's Cut, is this legal? Oh, wait. Hang on a second. Look what else I have. True Lies on Blu-ray for Dieter Bastian. Where did these come from? No man can say. Actually, these came both from Stinky Tuna. Stinky
and the
Tuna.
cover from True Lies is great.
Yeah. So there you go. Hey, by the way, did I tell you there are these things called the Rondo Awards, and they're like the awards for horror books.
I think you told me about it, and one edition got an award.
Yeah, we got Hills Run Red is nominated for Best Special Features. We're not going to win. You know what's going to win? Dawn of the Dead. Yeah, as well it should.
But considering the stuff, how many hours are on?
I know, a lot.
It should have a chance, I would say.
Totally.
Considering the movie itself, the running time, the how it's known, and then 5 hours and more special features, it's insane.
Yes, it's true. By the way, I didn't really answer Scotty's question. So Scotty is asking, why are Lightstorm...
I'm just a guest.
Well, no, you're not just a guest. You can chime in. This is a physical media question, Dieter. So Scotty asks, why is not the Lightstorm films, The Abyss, True Lies, also, and he mentions, he didn't mention there are 2 Lightstorm movies that they produced, Steven Soderbergh's remake of Solaris and Catherine Bigelow's Strange Days, which I love. I got both. You got me. They're both out in Germany on Blu-ray.
Yes,
but they're not officially out. They're officially out.
Releases.
The Abyss and the True Lies are bootlegs, clearly, but they are both out in Germany legally. I have no idea. It is one of the more baffling things to me. And you have Terminator 4K, don't you? You have the Terminator 2 4K.
Yeah.
But
correct.
But
it's more of a, like I told you, more of a completion for me. Because I like the extended cut, Rob. I like the extended cut.
I do too.
More.
I do too, but it's baffling to me why those movies aren't out on 4K. I have no clue. At
least Terminator is out in many editions, but True Lies and Abyss are not out at all. And Solaris and Strangest you can get in Germany. There are official releases here. And
that Solaris disc is beautiful.
You told me.
Strange Days is good too, actually. But
yeah. Strange Days, I think it's gotten released 2 times here.
Right.
And the one you've got is a newer version where they did a remaster.
Yeah. It's pretty good. Richard K sends in a super chat and says, I know you love Star Trek, Rob, but did you like Gene Roddenberry's Andromeda? You know what? I thought Andromeda was pretty good. As a matter of fact, Ashley Miller, who created Dota, Dragon's Blood, the anime series, and who also wrote Agent Cody Banks for me and X-Men First Class and Thor that he wrote with Zach Stentz. He was one of the writer-producers on that show. I liked Andromeda. I just thought it was a little cheap, but the premise was really interesting, and I really liked the ship. I really liked the Andromeda Ascendant. But there was a lot of really interesting, cool ideas that they ripped off for the 3rd season of Discovery. Oh wait, did I say that? Sure, I did. I hate that show. Did you know I hate Star Trek Discovery?
No.
Kenneth,
you can hate Star Trek, Rob? How can that be?
I know, it's terrible. Terrible. Kenneth Colton says, I just got my stimulus check. This one's for you, Rob. Kenneth Colton, that's very nice, man. Thank you. I appreciate that. That's very nice. Well, you know what, Kenneth? This one's for you. Mm. And here's something metal. Here's something metal like Aquaman. Let's take a swig of some JMO. Mm. Mm. I know. You know what's going to happen?
I don't have any. My cup is empty.
One day I'm going to like apply for some corporate job, and the HR department's like, well, we have to look into his social media past. Can you imagine they're gonna come to this YouTube channel?
Good, Rob. Not good.
Yeah, I'm like denied. You know, it'd be like getting a parole in the Shawshank Redemption. Just denied for 20 years. Black Phillip Alvarez says Dieter is my metal spirit animal. Even as Black Phillip, I worship him. Metal. Love the idea for this show, Rob. Fucking metal. It's fucking metal. Yeah, it is. And I didn't know. I really believed that the Snyder Cut was metal, but I didn't realize it would catch on because metal exists. It's always existed.
This is a new movement that skated alongside the Snyder Cut.
It
rock
did.
Metal movement.
It's yes, it's metal. Kenneth Colton says he comes back and says thanks for the follow back on Twitter, Rob. It means so much, man. One film I think totally deserves a remake is Inner Space. I need it, Rob. Shots on me. You know what, dude? Kenneth, I have to tell you, this is this bottle of Jameson has been sitting here for quite some time, and it's almost gone. So I'm gonna have to go get one, and I will do that with your money. And I will go to the grocery store. I'll tell the checkout girl, I'll say, you know what? Kenneth Colton bought me this fifth of Jameson. So thank you, Kenneth. I appreciate that. Roberto Suarez is here. He says, let's get metal. Woohoo! You know what's funny? Roberto sends me not just a logo, which I used for the main show. Yep. I used Xevious' logo in the show, but and then he sent me the metal song that plays over the opening credit of this thing.
The intro was great, by the way.
Do you like that? Was that metal enough?
Totally. Yeah.
Well,
totally.
You can thank
great
Roberto's
melodic solo.
Yeah, you like that?
Yeah.
That was Roberto
it's
Suarez.
Approved, Rob. Getting approved. Seal of approval.
Nothing. Well, that's the thing. Even though it's my show, it's not really a good show unless I get the Dieter Bastian Saarbrücken Deutschland seal of metal approval. As a matter of fact,
for the intro, definitely.
Xevious will have to take that picture of you and make. We've got to make like some kind of an icon, like the Dieter seal of metal approval.
I will send you a picture. Perhaps he can use that as a blueprint.
Yeah, because I think that it needs to happen.
Okay.
And it'll be one of the things like during the show, if somebody sends me a letter or something, I can be like, oh my God, this gets the Bastion metal seal of approval. Because why not?
Okay.
Roberto Suarez says, if Dieter can't stick around and you still want to co-host, send me the link and I'll join you, Rob. I can send you a link right now. You can join us right now if you want.
Is this turning out into a Zoom party?
I know, right? It could be like a total Zoom party. You know what I have to find, though? I just realized I don't think that I have. I don't think I have 3 pictures. I don't think I have I don't think I have 3. Maybe I do. I'll have to look. I have the capability of putting 3 people in, but it's a question of do I have the actual whatchamacallit, the frame. I don't know if I have the frame, so I'll have to look. Maybe I do. Maybe I do. Maybe I don't. I have no idea. I got the 2-shot. Yeah.
Have you gotten your sucker punch?
No, but you know what? They say it's coming. I'm hoping to get it by Showtime, dude. First of all, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, gentle beings, kind souls, I got a box. I got a box from Germany from Dieter Bastian. I got your box from Germany. Dieter sent me a delicious box of physical media.
And it arrived in pretty good condition. I was surprised.
It did arrive in good condition. Absolutely. So you know what I'm going to do? Since everyone knows, I can just inset Roberto right between us. I can do that. I have the technology. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna send Roberto Suarez because he's like an educator. He's like a father and a husband, and I mean, I just love the fact that us old dudes can still get fucking metal on Friday night. Yeah! That's what we gotta do. So, Roberto, you know what I have to send it to? Well, you know what, Roberto, I will send it to you on Facebook. I'll send you the link. And if he pops up, he pops up. If not, he doesn't. You know, what can I say? But it can happen. It can happen. There he is.
It was just more like a coincidence. Because I got a notification. What, Rob, is going on? Midnight Metal again?
Yeah, well, you know, first of all, this is not going to be a regular thing. I just want to be clear with everybody. This is going to be like, because if it's a regular thing, it's no fun. That's not metal. A regular schedule is not metal, unless you're, you know, a band like well, you're a Sammy Hagar fan, but Chicken Foot. You know, people don't know, but I edited.
The little story that we could tell.
Yeah,
because I was mad, Rob. I was mad, and you know I was mad. Long time ago, one super chat came in, and you had to pick out your favorite Van Halen songs. And I thought, come on, Rob. Only one. You can put it right now in it, but no, there was no song of the Red Rocker in your favorite Van Halen playlist,
dude. You know what?
I thought, okay, the next time we meet, I will tell him I'm mad, and I told you I'm mad.
I know.
And then you said, hold on, you douche. You went off your chair on your bookshelves and picked out, and I was, what are you doing with a Chicken Foot vinyl album? What are you doing with that? And then you told me a little story, Rob. What have you do with Chicken Foot?
This vinyl. Well, Dieter,
because you did shut me up again.
I did make 2 Chicken Foot videos for My Kind of Girl and Sexy Little Thing.
You know, you were working with the Red Rocker.
I was working with the Red Rocker, and I got to go to a Chicken Foot concert, and I was backstage the whole time. And I got to meet. That's when I met him. I had not met Chicken Foot. They love the video I did for them, and I can I'll find it. I'll find the Chicken Foot
Rob
video.
Did Sexy Little Things and
My Kind of Girl.
Great, Rob.
Yeah, and what was really interesting. So here's a story. So here I will put this video in the live chat. So I co-directed this video, and I co-directed it with. I was working.
Can you imagine, Rob, how many money you would have made when you did edit music videos in the 80s when MTV was big?
You know, I unfortunately I didn't. But so anybody can watch this music video. It's actually kind of a funny story. I'll tell it since it's fucking metal. So I just put it in the live chat. I co-directed this video. I was working at a design firm called Meat and Potatoes. And I was hired there by a guy named Evan Ostrowski, who produced what's the Eli Roth movie? The Cabin, not the Cab. What's the Cabin movie? Cabin Fever. Cabin Fever. Cabin Fever.
Cabin Fever.
He produced Cabin Fever, and he hired me. I was editing. There was a PlayStation video game called Mirror's Edge.
Yes, correct.
And I edited a video that was directed by Michael Bay's second unit director, like on the Transformers movies, like the first one. And it was a parkour video, and it was a 90-second commercial that aired on like MTV. So
Mirror's Edge has these parkour elements.
Yeah. And so I edited that video, and then the guy who owned Meat and Potatoes, that Meat and Potatoes is the name of the company, and he was friends with Sammy Hagar and had done a lot of stuff for his tequila brand, and yeah, and so Chicken Foot did. They wanted a music video, but the band really didn't have money to spend on a music video, so they basically gave me live footage of it was a small pub they played in Seattle. And so they gave me this footage, this pub footage, and it was like, it wasn't particularly well shot or anything. It sounded okay, But then Sammy Hagar is like, he said, listen, can you put like a guy and a girl and a dragster in the video? I'm like, so we hired this guy and a girl, like these two models. They came in, and I literally took my video camera out behind the building, which was in Glendale, and I literally just had him walk down the street. We had no concept for the video, and I'm like, well, what if, here's my concept. I said, what if I said to the guy, you're walking down the street, and you pass a pretty girl, and you have a fantasy about macking with her, like making out with her. And then as you pass by, she just walks right by you and doesn't pay you any attention. It doesn't pay you any mind. And so they like, yeah, that sounds good. I'm like, well, what? and okay. And then on Friday nights, we have in Burbank, there's a burger place called Bob's Big Boy, which is like a diner. And on Friday nights, every Friday night, I don't think they do it now because of COVID, but people would bring out their classic cars and like really beautiful hot rods, souped up cars from the 50s. And I was like, okay, well, why don't we go there and I'll just film. It was my own video camera. I took my prosumer camera and I'm like, I'm just going to shoot like engine parts and wheels and grills. And I'm going to intercut the car parts with the pretty girl. It's just it was the most like makeshift,
both can be sexy little things.
Sexy little, yeah. And so I shot all that stuff and I cut it all together. And now, like I did all of it. I didn't shoot the live action stuff, but I went to the guy who runs Meat and Potatoes, and he said, I'll make all these cool graphic icons and we'll overlay it over the video. And I said, because I shot it, the footage didn't look good. So I said, what if we blew out the footage and just made it like just black and white, like grained it up? And he's, oh, that's great. Let's do that. So I cut all this footage together and I was cutting, and and then he made the graphic overlay. So we basically co-directed the video. And when we finished it and I sent it and I'm like, are they going to like this? Like it seemed so basic to me. And fucking Hagar loved it. He loved it. And I was like, all right. And then he's like, well, why don't you do another one? I'm like, well, okay. And so
it's work.
Yeah, it does. Work begets work. That's what I always said. So, but what was really cool was when the video dropped. This was in 2009. So it was 12 years ago. When that video dropped, it became the #1 song on the hard rock metal album chart. So
considering how the band was put together.
Yeah, I mean it was Joe Satriani and Michael Anthony and Chad Smith from the Chili Peppers.
The Chili Peppers
and all those guys were awesome. Chad Smith, or some people say Will Ferrell because they look exactly alike. But it was so much fun. It was so much fun to do that because it was one of these things. Talk about pulling something out of your ass, and then it was like on TV and shit. I'm like, that's so like I literally was filming. I go, let's go to Bob's Big Boy, and I'm literally I'm sticking my camera over these engines and doing it. It's just now everybody can see it. So. Cinema says you can see the video. Cinema, I did put it in the live chat. But you know what? Since we're still talking about it,
just type in "sexy little things."
Well, there's a bunch of there's a couple of things. So there, I just put it in the live chat again. So there's the video. You can check out the video. It's Chickenfoot. Chickenfoot was basically a super group that was put together. Guitarist Joe Satriani, Michael Anthony
who
from
played in Saarbrücken, Rob.
Yes, Joe Satriani, and it was Michael Anthony from Van Halen and Sammy Hagar and Chad Smith from the drummer from the Red Hot Chili Peppers. They came together and they made this band Chickenfoot, and I think they put out 2 albums.
Yeah, correct, Rob, and a live
album. And basically, they were like a total bar band. Like they weren't deep, they just rocked, And it was so cool. So that there's the video. You've seen the video that I've done.
And I wasn't mad.
By the way, Roberto Suarez is here. Suarez is here. Let me see. Roberto. Oh, yeah. Oh, this is so fucking metal. Ah! Let's see. I gotta put him in here. Hang on. I'm adding Roberto Suarez from Portland, Oregon. So we're LA, Portland, and Saarbrücken, Deutschland. You can tell if Portland are they still rioting? Are they still doing? Let's see. I'm putting it. And Roberto's got his beanie on. This is getting more metal by the day. It's fantastic. Or metal by the moment. I'm putting him in. Hang on. I've just got to add him.
Oh, yeah, has already the Midnight Metal logo behind him.
Yeah, he's got the Midnight Metal logo behind him. So I'm just going to put this down right here, and I'm going to add.
Doesn't Roberto play that cool, smooth music when it's a Zoom call?
Yes, he does. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I'm adding Roberto Suarez to the party. Welcome, Roberto. Look, I mean, you're like a dad and an educator, but you have a metal side to you as well. Oh wait, I don't have sound for you. I don't know why. I can't hear you.
I can't hear him too, Rob.
Yeah. Can you hear him? So maybe it's you have to shift your mic on something. I don't know. Well, we can look at him. I don't know why we don't have you. But I don't know what to say. He's looking. I'll tell you what. We'll leave him on there. We can just watch. Here, I'll
Captain Benzino.
Captain Benzino
says in the live chat that the band has been forged.
Well, let's see. While he's doing that, I will say. Let's see. Let's see. Black Phillip Alvarez. Kenneth Colton comes back and says,
Hello.
"Oh, wait.
Oh, I hear something.
I heard.
I hear something.
Can
Yep,
you hear
now
me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Hear him?
I'm so metal that the audio doesn't even work.
Dude, that's so metal. But you're here now. That's
so
you know what that
metal.
is? That's Spinal Tap, bro. Spinal Tap. Fuck yeah! Smell the glove. Smell the glove.
Put it on 11.
To 11 and it couldn't handle it.
There you go. Roberto Suarez says, you said, woohoo, let's get metal. Roberto also said, Dieter loved Dota because Dota is metal. Yes, it is. I love that you've sent me a tip, and I can actually ask you to answer the very question you said. You said, Roberto said, if Dieter can't stick around, well, you're here.
Yeah,
so that's good.
I just decided, hey, if you need a co-host, I'm running solo this weekend here. So I'm.
Wait a minute, all the kids and the wife are gone?
Just the older kids are with me, and my wife and my oldest daughter are gone. So I'm here. I just actually finished a watch party with a good friend of mine from Puerto Rico over Zoom. So we were. He had never watched Willow, so we watched Willow.
Wait a minute. You had somebody from... hang on a second. Let me back right up. Okay. So you had a friend of yours from Puerto Rico, watch
right.
Willow. Of all the movies you could watch, like you didn't watch like Scarface or something?
He had never watched Willow. And I said, well, let's watch it tonight. So that's what we did. We hung out and watched Willow, which is kind of metal. Willow is kind of metal. It's
you got Mad Mardigan and Joanna Whaley Kilmer. She's hot.
And
she's pretty metal.
The skull guy.
That's true.
Tight. So it was pretty metal, but yeah, he had never seen it, so we watched it, and it was a pleasant experience. So I don't usually get that many nights to just kind of hang out and do some fun movie watching stuff. So
well, that's good.
I haven't seen that movie in a long time.
Yeah, it's
that
funny.
Makes two of us.
The two of us, as we were going through it, he really was liking it, but it's like it loses steam in the third act. There's something about towards the third act of the movie, it kind of started to feel like it was dragging. We were really into it, and then it just kind of started to drag a little bit towards the end. But it is what it is.
Zach Losel says he's loving these late night streams. Rob, you definitely has a future as a totally metal inspirational speaker. How funny would that be? That's got to be like a, you know what? Some people might say that that's a Saturday Night Live sketch. The metal inspirational speaker. I'm going to adopt that as a character. Someone's got to make some fan art for me where I'm actually going to get out there and I'm going to be like, I'll do a TED Talk as the metal inspirational speaker that I am. You can do it! There's only one of you in the entire universe! You're unique! It'd be great.
It'd be like a Sam Kinison type.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd have to figure out how to manage my voice. Midnight's Edge, I think it's Tom is here. He says, howdy. Hello, Tom. By the way,
Tom.
Midnight's Edge, put out a great video that I watched that Andre. First of all, if you guys don't watch Midnight's Edge, their videos, they do long deep dive videos that I quite enjoy, and that's how I discovered their channel. But like, there's 2 tiers of Midnight's Edge videos. There's Rob, who I love his voice when he narrates the videos. Not me, not mean Rob. There's another Rob. But then there's Andre, who's like the grand poobah of the channel. He's the man. Right. So if Andre does a video, then it's like doubly important. You know, and so it's funny because it doesn't say who's narrating the video,
right?
But this video, it dropped all about the Snyder Cut situation. By the way, I recommend everybody watch it. It was a Midnight's Edge video. I think it dropped today. I watched it this morning, and Andre's in Norway, and I just love listening to his accent. I don't know why Americans. I don't know if you do this, Roberto, because you have an accent. You're from Puerto Rico, so
yeah.
But
the more I drink, the stronger it gets too.
Yeah, well, there you go. And of course, Dieter, I just assume anybody who has a foreign accent is smarter than me. I've always thought that as because British. That everybody who has a British accent is smarter than an American. Just the way it is. Canadians, when I hear somebody go about, I know they're smarter than I am. But so when I listen to Andre do the Midnight's Edge videos, I'm like, oh, like my whole attitude changes. I have to sit up, and lean forward.
Now listen.
I love his deep. I love when he does. Speaking of metal, he does some really cool deep dives on Conan content that are really, really good. He's a huge Conan fan.
Yeah, he's really good about that. And it's funny because what I really don't like lately is, there's been some hit pieces about some of these sites about talking about how they're alt-right and stuff. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, it's so, I don't like, it's like, have you ever watched any of these any of these channels? It drives me, I really intensely dislike it. And I haven't done any of that. I haven't really addressed it on my channel, but it's getting to the point where I mean, it's so weird. It's just so bizarre.
Well, it all gets blanketed with the toxic fandom banner, even though there's a lot more nuance to that. So
I get more toxic as I drink, but that's only inside. It's only inside my body. I'm not a toxic person. The inside of my body, however, I'm sure there's, if they made an animated film about the inside of, like, Inside Out of Rob Burnett, everybody would keep getting drenched with liquor. Oh my God, it's coming again! No!
It's like the Meet the Feebles version.
Yeah. Rob Burnett, the most toxic fan ever. It's inside, not outside.
The nice are Muppets.
It's true. 501 sends in a super chat and says, "Still hating this whole 666 devil BS, man." SMDH. Well, listen, I mean, it's all for fun. Like I look upon the devil as a pop culture figure, not somebody who or a person. And after all, really, when you think about it, he is a fallen angel. Mm-hmm. But to me, I celebrate. We celebrate our, what is it? Our satanic. What's the Rolling Stones thing? Our satanic something majesty or something. I don't know. But like, I don't really support the devil as like an entity of Satan, But as a pop culture character, I love the Devil's Advocate. Yeah. I love, and I think that evil, when you're going to stories, if you're going to, there's no better stories than stories that deal with the ultimate evil, and it's like who's the greatest personification of evil that you can come up with? Well, the devil.
And it's the ultimate anti-hero, too. Like, if you look at some of the adaptations, like, I love the Lucifer comic book series by DC Comics that kind of stemmed out of Sandman.
Yeah, they released that in omnibuses, too.
Yeah. And it's a great exploration of the nature of evil. And, so it can be a great conduit for fiction.
Yeah, I think so, too. And, like, The Exorcist is my favorite horror film, but and the idea, the reason I love it so is a lot of people, they think about Linda Blair being possessed and all that, but to me, The Exorcist is about a Catholic priest, Damien Karras, who loses his faith in God, right? And in confronting the devil, he realizes that if the devil exists, well, God must exist, and even though his mother passed away all alone and all the guilt that he's carrying around with him. He's able to save her soul from Satan himself, because he gets his faith in God back, and he dives out a window to come into me.
Right.
But I find The Exorcist to be a very uplifting film.
Yeah.
So,
Hey,
I think it's a message we can all use.
because The Exorcist is metal.
It is so metal. John says, glad you brought back the orange glasses. Hail, Rob and Dieter. Hope the metal Rob action figures come to your merch store. Cheers. Well, people, that's it. We got to have more merch. People love the merch. You can get our Let's Get Physical Media. You can get an Elizaviews poster, which is really, really cool.
You're going to have to make a Midnight Metals t-shirt now.
I know. Yes, we will. Yes, we will. Absolutely. And Efrain Guzman. Oh, and he wants me to go on a show, which I want to do. Robbie Rob. Fuck yeah. We need Drunken Atomic Metal crossover. Let's do that. Let's do that crossover. Roger Green. I always say Grind. I think it's Grind. It's Grein. Grind. Roger Grind. I think it's Grind. Roger Grind says, I spent the night with Lafreg, listening to metal and creating an artwork for you. Fuck yeah! Time for bed now. The sun is up already. Dieter's up. I go to bed.
I'm up. Sorry.
You're up. Well, Roger, I look forward to seeing that artwork. Send it on down. And Lafreg, that's good. Or Lafroig. Richard K. sends in a super chat and says, I love some Star Trek Voyager. It's my favorite. But why do we only get Star Trek about a Starfleet crew? I would love an all Klingon or Vulcan Star Trek. A lot of people would. I think it's just, why? It's cost prohibitive from a makeup standpoint. Mm-hmm. And if you did an all Klingon crew, that would be a difficult show to make. Yeah.
And didn't Michael Dorn propose one or has advocated for a Klingon series?
Yeah, he has. Yeah. He has. Richard K. says, I would love a live-action Titan AE movie.
Oh.
Well, I like Titan AE. Yeah. I don't know if anybody will make a live-action version of that, but I would like it.
Is Titan out on AE available on Blu-ray?
That's a good. I don't know. We should look into that.
We'll search.
I can't believe that.
Actually, because I love that movie on DVD, had a great soundtrack.
Yeah, it does. I love the fact that last night I just randomly went on, and now I'm doing a second show with guests. I mean,
actually, I think it's not.
Yeah, well, no Blu-ray, nowhere. The film guy. Ooh, the film guy sends in a super chat. Check this out. Hey, Rob, looking good. Just wanted to say hi from a fellow filmmaker and YouTube creator from Perth, Australia. I love your welcoming shows. Well, thank you, the film guy. I got to tell you about Perth. So I lived in Sydney for 10 months working on Superman Returns. And we were in a place called Tamworth, which is about 450 kilometers northwest of Sydney, inland in Australia, which is their country music capital. We shot all the Smallville stuff there. But while I was there, a guy from Perth took the James Bond movie Never Say Never Again, and he was able to strip out Michel Legrand's score, which is not very good. And he rescored all of Never Say Never Again with David Arnold and John Barry music.
Wow.
And he redid the opening credits and blew up the credits to Thunderball and used Shirley Bassey's song History Repeating that she did with the propeller heads. And he actually sent it to me in Sydney from Perth. This is my only Perth story that I have, so bear with me, but that's it. I mean, he made it and sent it to me from Perth. And I was like, God, I want to go hang out with this dude, because anybody that would take the time to do that, that's the kind of guy I want to know. And he did a good job.
Did he re-edit it with a pre-credit sequence and the gun barrel scene and all that stuff?
Yes, he did.
Nice.
And it was good. So maybe it was the film guy. Film Guy, did you send me a version of Never Say Never Again 16 years ago in Sydney? Black Phillip Alvarez says, I know this ain't LGPM, Let's Get Physical Media, but I watched Gattaca tonight. Great movie. I have Wonder Woman 84, Godzilla, and 10 Commandments arriving this weekend. You know what's funny about that? You talk about Gattaca. You want a little preview? Here is the Gattaca
nice.
Steelbook. Look at that. Gattaca Steelbook. 4K
shiny,
Steelbook. Jeter,
shiny.
it is shiny. By the way, that's yep. But the single greatest release of the year came out, but I'll wait and show it. But it's something I was really waiting for. I have Dieter. If I include your box and if I ever get my Shout Select stuff, I'll have like 20 discs to show at least.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, which is good. So
I'm looking forward to the 4K release of the Indiana Jones films.
Yeah.
That's June, right?
June.
I believe. June or May. Wait.
And I think the Steelbook isn't out for pre-order yet, but the standard edition is.
Yeah.
I don't think you can buy them individually, though, right?
June 8th.
You have to buy the whole set. You can't buy them single. Otherwise, there'd be a lot of crystal skulls sitting on the shelves.
You're absolutely right about that. Anthony Gonzalez says, Dieter, what is up? The Jason Bourne. Good morning. The Jason Bourne foot chase through Berlin was incredible. What did you think? And Rob, tell us, what was your conversation with Michael Jackson about? Did you recommend comics? Did you like the foot chase through Berlin? But you don't live in Berlin.
Yeah, no, I don't live in Berlin. I was in Berlin a few times, but I don't live in Berlin. But you don't always know if there are some trickery involved, and they actually didn't shoot it there, but they shot it there.
I met Michael Jackson once at Golden Apple Comics on Melrose.
Out of the blue.
He would show up. He would come in. A limo would pull up in the back, and they closed this. Like, I was there, because I knew everybody, so they didn't. And they let me stay in the store. And Michael Jackson comes in with a bunch of kids and mothers with them, and he would go in and he would buy like thousands of dollars. And what we just talked about statues and things, like, because I was there, he was actually very engaged. Like, he knew about the statues, like he knew the characters, and we were just talking. I don't remember the exact things he was buying, but we were talking about, like, I remember we had a conversation about Randy Bowen statues, and he was totally into it. Michael Jackson was an imagination connoisseur. Mm-hmm. And like, he knew his stuff. Like, he came in there and there were specific books he bought and things he wanted, and it was pretty. I mean, he talked like Michael Jackson, but it was wild to see him, because, you know, he was he was a mega star, and it was crazy. But when he comes in, he's in your comic book store buying superhero statues. It was like, oh, you're one of us, dude. I almost was like, you should come to Comic-Con. Thinking, yeah, that would work. I'd love to see that. So, Dirty Soul Monkey sends in a super chat and says, do we have a renaissance in black and white movies? Logan, Fury Road, Snyder's Justice League, or is it just a niche thing? What do you guys think?
Well, it was an exception, I would say. But Mad Max Fury Road was really looking great in black and white, in the chrome version. But it's more an afterthought, I would say, about those movies.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that I would call it a renaissance, but I think it's definitely a interesting happenstance, especially I think with unique situations like what's happened with Justice League. Yeah, I found it interesting. The title of the version of Justice League is Justice is Gray.
Yeah,
is what they're calling it. So I'm wondering, kind of, not really quite sure if that aligns with the story, but I just thought it was interesting that they released it with that kind of subtitle on it.
Yeah, the thing is, though, one of my favorite black and white, even though it's color as well, is a German film called Wings of Desire that Wim Wenders directed, and it was shot by Henri Alecken, who is one of the great cinematographers of all time, and he shot like Cocteau's Beauty and the Beast. He's one of the great, and I think if you're a true black and white film has to be shot in black and white because it's lit for black and white. Right. And while if you take out color, it can still look great. But I think something is truly, like if you look at the Twilight Zone, the original Twilight Zone, if you get the Blu-rays, the remastered Blu-rays, if you've never seen the Blu-rays of Twilight Zone or you've never watched the remaster, it's unbelievable. The photography in that, when you look at something like oh God, what's the name of the episode? The one where they wrap the bandages, the doctors. Why am I drawing?
Eye of the Beholder.
Eye of the Beholder. Yeah, thank you. Eye of the Beholder. If you watch how that's filmed, it's just unbelievable.
Yeah, you know, it was an interesting movie that I got to see a few months back. Actually, recommended by a fellow PGS member. Was the 1931 Jekyll and Hyde with Frederick March. Yeah. And what's really interesting about that movie is it was in black and white, but they used colored gels to create effects that would only work in black and white. So there's some pretty impressive transformation effects in that. And the reason is because it was in black and white, they were able to play with light in such a way using these color gels that had it been done in color, you would have never been able to get those effects, but they work in black and white. It's really impressive stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. So I don't know, Dirty Soul Monkey. I mean, I would love to see a movie that in black. I love black and white. I'd love to see a movie shot in black and white. Like Wings of Desire was shot, I believe it was shot in black and white and color. Our friends Echo Base Network, Nick and the Coach, says, how do we get followed by you on Twitter? I don't follow you on Twitter. I find that unbelievable. Everybody should follow Echo Base Network on Twitter. Everyone. They're great. And they're doing a documentary on LucasArts. They did a really cool documentary on the sequel trilogy. They're doing a documentary on LucasArts. Echo Base says, how do we get followed by you on Twitter? You know what? I can't believe I don't follow you on Twitter. That doesn't seem right. I'm going to go to Twitter right now. Like, everybody, let's do it right now. Let's all follow.
Echo
There's 179 people here. Let's all go to Twitter, and let's go to Echo Base Network, and let's all follow Echo Base Network. And also, then go to YouTube and give them a subscription.
Nice.
Well, there you go. I can't believe I wasn't following Echo Base Network. I'm following them now. And then now go to their YouTube page and follow them on YouTube. And I want to make sure. They're in Alabama, by the way. And Alabama got hit with those crazy tornadoes. People lost their homes. Not good.
It's always a terrible thing.
Wow, I'm hearing music. Can you hear music?
It's not coming from... I don't hear it.
It's not coming from me.
No.
Wow, I think that was the Echo Base Network YouTube channel. Anyway, so go follow Echo Base Network on Twitter and on YouTube. Richard K sends in a super chat and says, speaking of music... Oh, wait a second. I didn't read. Echo Base sends in it. Echo Base says, how do we get followed by on YouTube? Laugh out loud. Speaking of metal... What is your favorite Seattle band in order? Alice in Chains, Nirvana, Pearl Jam, and Soundgarden. Well, first of all, my favorite Seattle band, and I know, is Heart. And when we're talking Crazy on You, Barracuda. He's a Magic Man, Dreamboat Annie. I mean, I grew up with Heart. I loved Heart because it was two hot chicks that rocked. So that was my first favorite Seattle band. But then I would have to say that in addition to the band you said, obviously Soundgarden, Pearl Jam, Alice in Chains, Nirvana, you have to add Mother Love Bone in there. I would add that, and of course Jimi Hendrix is from Seattle. So Richard K says, speaking of music, I'm a massive Skillet fan. Great rock band. If you heard them, I recommend you check them out. I don't know Skillet. Do you know them, Dieter?
No, doesn't ring a bell, but considering Seattle, let's go back. We can't forget Queensryche, Rob. Don't forget Queensryche.
You know what? I cannot believe I just forgot Queen, because the greatest album to ever come out of Seattle
of all time
is, of course, Operation Mindcrime. Operation Mindcrime. If you don't, I can't believe I forgot Queensryche. That was. You know what? It would actually have to be Heart and then Queensryche before, because the other bands are all of the grunge era. And Operation Mindcrime came out in 87?
89.
It was 89?
I'll have to check. Or it was 88, Rob. 88 or 87. I have to check, Rob. I can't believe it.
I have to look in. We have to look into,
I actually don't know the release anymore when it came out.
I'm sure. Just go to
Wikipedia. I bet you it's on the Wikipedia.
Wikipedia will say that. John says, "You might feel me burning all night like a dirty demon daughter. Don't put up no fight. Dance in the spotlight. I'm all right. Just my devil delight. Heart. I'm a big Heart fan." DL sends in a super chat and says, "Rob the Metal Motivator." That's it. That's got to be my new. Somebody's got to make that drawing. The Rob the Metal Motivator. Black Phillip says, "Lighten up, peeps. I got my name from a demonic goat. And what's more fucking metal than that? Fuck yeah, Black Phillip. Ah!" Now, if you haven't seen,
it was 1988, Rob.
It was 88. Okay. If you guys haven't seen The Witch, which is where Black Phillip comes from,
so good.
It's so good. It's an A24 movie. It's so good. So
it's not in black and white, but it does have a very
almost.
Is it black and white?
No, but it's a very desaturated color palette. A very desaturated color palette.
That could have been a black and white film.
It could, yes, it could have been. Black Phillip, I love Philip Alvarez. We started calling him Black Phillip. Just I don't know why. I think we did on whining about movies because I've got my great Black Phillip pullover that I love that. So or the hoodie, it's great. Kevin sends in a super chat and asks all three of us, question for the three of you: what is your favorite crime drama? Godfather, Scarface, Goodfellas, Casino, Heat, etc. What is your favorite crime drama?
I can jump in. The moment you said it, it jumped into my mind. Rififi, speaking of black and white films, I love that movie. It's one of my all-time favorite heist dramas, and it has a very tense, I want to say it's like a 20 or 25-minute long sequence, all done in silence.
Yep.
So it's a fantastic film about a heist, basically.
Rififi is an incredible film. It is available. I have it. It's actually right over there. I have it on Blu-ray. Criterion put it out. It is a great movie. Rififi is great.
I also love Thief, which I know is one of your favorites, Rob.
Yeah, you know what I was going to say? I think that Thief might... Look, I love all the movies you mentioned. I mean, The Godfather... The Godfather is, I think, my favorite movie of all time, The Godfather and Godfather 2. But I don't necessarily think of them as crime dramas because even Coppola said when he was making Godfather, I thought of it as a movie about a king and his three sons. Even though it's set within the Mafia Cosa Nostra world, I think it has themes that are not necessarily crime. I mean, all good movies do, but I think Thief, Michael Mann's first theatrical feature, is that movie had made such. I saw it in 1981 when it came out. I was visiting my grandparents in Palm Springs for spring break, and my grandfather took me to see that film, and I was 13 or 14, and I was blown away by it. It left such an impression on me. And that film, the first 9 minutes, is they crack a safe, and it's Tangerine Dream's pounding score. It's a piece of music called Diamond Diary. You can see it on YouTube. That music was incredible. I was just and it has some of the most. I was sitting next to my conservative grandfather. I can't even repeat what was said in this live stream.
Right.
But it has some of the greatest profanity I'd ever heard. This Robert Prosky's character says this profanity, and I thought that I thought I was going to get struck by lightning. Talk about the devil. I'm like sitting next to my conservative grandfather, and I'm like, I'd never heard anyone utter such profanity in my life, not in real life. And Robert Prosky says this, and I'm just like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And my grandfather this is the same grandfather who, after my grandmother died and he was a widower until he got remarried, I convinced him to take me to see Alien because nobody else would when I was 12. It was that grandfather, and he was. It was the same thing. He was like this the whole time. And when we were watching Thief, when the profanity came, it was just like. So apparently
awesome.
It didn't affect him, but we were there. So Palm Springs, spring break, 1981, downtown Palm Springs is where I saw Thief, and I think it might be my favorite crime.
Thief is one of those movies where, as you're watching it, you're wondering, what they doing right now? These are like real tricks of the trade. Like you're actually witnessing actual safecrackers doing the work. You don't for one believe that it's nothing other than you're actually witnessing like a hugely illegal thing happening right now.
By the way, there were real, I mean, the people playing cops were criminals, and some of the cops were actually playing also criminals. It was all authentic. But that was good. Michael Mann. I mean, that whole safe cracking scene is so interesting. So what about you, Dieter? What's your favorite crime movie?
Considering crime drama is not at the top of my list of favorite genres, from the top of my head, I can't say any movie. But I will say I'm looking forward to Heat coming out on 4K.
Well, Heat is. I love Heat. Between everything, I love Casino and Goodfellas. Obviously,
I love this movie too. But it's not the top of my genre. So just to pick one, this is my favorite crime drama. It's tough.
Yeah. I guess I differentiate crime from organized crime movies. So,
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, because Rafifi also, yes. Like, I'll tell you one thing. I think the first hour of Casino is one of the best directed things I've ever seen. I mean, it's a tour de force when you learn how Vegas works and all the voiceover. It's unbelievable. And Heat, I love Heat. But Heat's almost a fantasy movie. I mean, even though it's a crime film, even though I live in LA, I feel like I'm watching a movie that's set in a different world when I watch Heat. I can't wait to get that in 4K.
Yeah,
it's
gun
like
battle.
World.
Yeah,
gun battle is insane.
The gun battle is one of the greatest action scenes ever. I mean, it's incredible, incredible. But I like all of Scorsese's crime movies. I mean, I love Scarface. Scarface to me is almost another like a science fiction movie. I think it's great.
Is this reboot still in the making? The remake?
They've been trying to make that now.
There's
I don't know if that's
talk
ever...
of that for a long time.
Yeah. Talks Fox sends in a super chat and asks about the Andromeda TV series, the one that Gene Roddenberry. This is the second person tonight who's asked me about that. I liked it. I liked it a lot. Ashley Miller, who created Dota, Dragon's Blood, which you can see now on Netflix, which you can also, if you stay through the end credits, you can see my name on it. I liked Andromeda. I thought it was really interesting. The idea that the Federation has fallen, kind of.
Basically, yeah.
But I thought that the show, it was a low-budget sci-fi show made in Canada, and but Ashley worked on it. He was a writer and I think a producer on it as well.
Was Jason Momoa in that show?
I think he was. Yes, something. Yes.
Or there's somebody who resembles him, if it's not him.
Yeah. Stub McShave asks, Rob, did the dogs eat your glasses? Bruh, I found the orange glasses. I found them in a drawer today. I'm like,
they're awesome, Rob.
I know. I was wearing these people, and then people are like, where'd the orange glasses go? What's so funny about these things is like, the one thing about getting old, like I feel exactly the same as I felt when I was 20. The only thing that isn't the same is my eyesight. And because I read a lot, and which is really annoying, and there's really nothing you can do. So these are, Elizabeth would buy these reader. Like I just need readers. I don't have. I should get I should get a nice pair of glasses, prescription glasses or something. But these are these like $5 a piece at Amazon. You buy 20 at once or something. That's what these are. And then either the dogs eat them or they get broken or lost. I thought these were lost, and I found them today, so I'm wearing them. So there you go, Stubble. DL sends in a super chat and says, for the three of you, what's the most metal movie that isn't upfront metal? For me, it's Desperado. He walks around town with a guitar case filled with guns. Desperado fucking rules. I love Desperado. So what do you think, guys?
Owned it on Laserdisc, Desperado still. A movie that's not front up metal, but was metal. Or did they always come up with these tough questions? God damn it!
Oh, on the spot. How do you do this all the time, Rob? This is on the spot like that,
dude. You got to keep it going. I know it's.
Because, I mean, the thing that comes to mind with metal is things like Mad Max, but that is obviously metal, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
that's the problem.
That's not.
Yeah, but you know what? I would say Mad Max is legit fucking metal. Like,
exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Like, and of the Mad Max movies, I think Road Warrior and Fury Road are the most metal. I mean, Fury Road is shiny and chrome, literally. Are you shiny? I'm shiny and chrome. So
exactly. So I mean, RoboCop maybe I would consider kind of a metal movie, even though it's not as overt as something like Mad Max. I would say RoboCop has that metal grit to it.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw out a really obscure movie that I love. People laugh at me when I say this. Stone Cold. With Brian Bosworth and Lance Henriksen. Stone Cold is fucking metal. Yeah, no, it's if you guys haven't seen Stone Cold, it came out on Blu-ray. It was directed by Craig Baxley, who is a stuntman, and it's basically Brian Bosworth has the most 80s hair ever.
Totally.
And he plays
He's rocking the mullet.
Yeah, he's rocking the mullet, and he goes undercover in a biker gang that's led by Lance Henriksen. Mm-hmm. And it might be Lance Henriksen's best role ever. and the movie is, I mean, it's a B movie. It's so fucking good. Like, people are like, Stone Cold. I'm like, no. Anybody who's seen it, fuck yeah, Rob, Stone Cold, yeah. That's my vote.
And he directed the great I Come in Peace, like Angel with
Lundgren. Yeah. Another one that comes to mind, I think, would be something like Escape from New York. Yeah, definitely has a very, and kind of John Carpenter is kind of a metal director when you think
John Carpenter. You know what? John Carpenter made a movie no one likes. Ghosts of Mars, fucking metal. Totally. I mean, it's literally metal, but the Ghosts of Mars are fucking heavy metal fans.
Right.
The evil aliens in Ghosts of Mars are metal fans. They're it's like they might as well be a band. You're absolutely right about that. Richard K says, I remember John Campea saying something about someone wanting to do a CGI James Dean in a movie. If it works, can they CGI Christopher Reeve in the DCEU and have him as the DCEU Superman? First of all, you know what? How do you guys feel about that? If they could digitally recreate actors who are dead, should they?
No. From my perspective, no. Because I think there are enough actors you could choose from, which are now looking for work, perhaps, and you don't need to CGI older people.
I can see the benefits of it. For example, like what was recently done with Mark Hamill in The Mandalorian.
Right.
Okay.
They de-aged him.
Where the living actor, wants to be able to still play a role, and so with their kind of blessing and their participation,
if it's the same character,
bring the character back, right? But when it gets like they had this thing about a James Dean movie, this was out a while ago. I haven't heard about it much recently, but there was this idea that they were going to film a new movie with a virtual James Dean.
Yes.
And to me, that starts to get into like, I don't know, it really enters kind of creepy territory. First of all, whether or not they can even pull it off in a way that it looks realistic is a whole other question. But when there's no consent from the person and it's somebody who's been dead for a long time, I feel kind of weird about that.
I'm with you. I think I hope ultimately we pass a law or something, because you know what? People, one of the great things about movies, I think, is that even though we know movies are made up and you're seeing something that's totally created, we give ourselves over to the verisimilitude of films. And part of what we're giving ourselves over to is we know that those are human beings playing these roles.
Right.
And I think that's part of the attraction, is to look into someone's eyes. And if you're watching a CG performer, I think part of the appeal of watching a film, I love animated movies, and that voice actors, but that they're animated. You're watching, and animation itself is an art form. So when you watch beautifully depicted characters, whether it's a Miyazaki film or a Pixar movie or whatever, you can appreciate the artwork. Like I watched Soul, for instance, and I'm like, this movie is beautiful.
Right.
It is just this gorgeous, beautiful looking film from every shot. But that's because people are you know that it's real people behind it. And if I'm watching James Dean, who's dead, it doesn't matter how good the depiction is. I know that I'm watching something that is inherently not real. And and if he's interacting with other human beings, that was creepy to me. It's weird. It's also feels like a violation. And it goes back to my philosophy. If there's only ever one of every single human being that ever existed in the universe. Yeah. And that's what that uniqueness, when people have come and gone, they're gone.
Yeah.
And I think that one of the things that we need to do as a species is honor that. So we get I think if we're starting to recreate people who have died, this idea that, well, then a person's life really doesn't have to end, and we don't cherish the time that we have them, because hey, let's put Marilyn Monroe and James Dean and if we it has something to do with how we value one another as people, I think, in a way.
We already kind of did it with Peter Cushing in Rogue One, and I kind of found, I mean, again, I could appreciate the artistry and how amazing it is that we've come this far, that we can create almost photorealistic people. But there was a part of me thinking, in a way, the Krennic character got kind of short-sighted, kind of got derailed because of the presence of this CGI creation that wasn't really consented to by the original actor. Wouldn't it have been better to just write the story around the new character, that we have an actual actor performing? So
or cast the character that played Tarkin in Revenge of the Sith.
Right.
Like have an actor, like I would. And to me, the problem is, when I'm watching that in Rogue One, and I like Rogue One, but you're looking at that actor going, that actor's dead. And I'm watching, I'm like, I know he's dead, so he's not really, and it just seemed weird. So all I'm doing is looking for the unreality of it all. Yep. I feel it.
I was surprised how long he was in this movie. For me, it was just enough to have him, the reflection in the window, just for this one scene. So it wasn't too jarring. But I was surprised how long he was in the movie.
Yeah. And this one, and maybe if they had just had him as a hologram, or some way to kind of, just kind of give you a little taste. But the moment when it crosses into an actual performance, plus, I mean, there was an actor who stood there and actually acted all that out, and then that person gets completely covered up. I don't know. It just feels like it's doing a disservice to working actors, and it's kind of like you said, a disrespectful to the dead actor.
I think so. I mean, I really do.
It's hard. But once I would say though, like if somebody, like say, like a living actor like Arnold Schwarzenegger gave the consent so that there could be a young version of him in a movie, and he's involved in that, I think that's a different thing.
Well, have you heard what William Shatner's been doing?
He's been getting digitized, right?
Yeah, William Shatner's been getting digitized as an AI, and he's like telling his whole story and giving out advice or whatever, which I think is fascinating. Like when I was in college, at the Evergreen State College in Washington State, we had to come up with a product. We had some class, and we had to come up, and my product was, because back then I had laser discs, and laser discs you could do single frame things, and I was like, wouldn't it be cool if you would start when you were a kid, like your parents would start, and you would collect pictures and anything that you wanted to put from your life. So now we have it. It's Instagram and Facebook, but you take anything you wanted, and it would be put on at the time it was a laser disc. So instead of going to a graveyard or something, you could go to a place and watch because I go to the Hollywood Forever Cemetery here in LA, and there's a lot of celebrities buried there, but you look at these, there's thousands of people, it seems like, in that, and some of them are like born in 1847 or something. It's been there for a long time. And I'm like, wouldn't it have been cool to like find out who these people, because there's nobody around that remembers them. But it would be really cool if you could plug in a thing or hit a button and just watch about something about their lives.
Right.
You know, and that was my thing. I wanted to do it on Laserdisc, so you could go and you would collect these things from your life, and a company would gather them up, and if you live to be 100 years, then at 100 years you would get your thing. But now we're kind of doing that on our own. You know, you have a digital footprint, but
yeah. But bringing it back to Shatner again, that's something that he's consenting to and agreeing to participate in, right?
Yeah, and how cool would it be? I mean, as a Star Trek fan, like 20 years from now, to go in and see that AI of Shatner.
Yeah,
when he's able, in his voice, he's telling you things about his life. Yeah, these are things that we're gonna have to deal with in the future, and these are moral and ethical questions I think that we should be addressing now, but we aren't.
Yeah,
you know, it's so funny to me. We talk about all our political correctness and cancel culture, but we have moral and ethical dilemmas that haven't even hit us yet that we're not addressing, that I think are more important. Like our society was getting better. There was less, we had an evolutionary, I've always said this on the show, but life was getting better for everybody. You know, we live in the best period of time that humanity has ever lived in. There's less war, less famine than there's ever been per capita globally. Mm-hmm. Things are good, and our society, people were getting, you know, racism was going away naturally. It was happening, and it was evolving out of our civilization because it's not the best way to live. And now it seems like in the last 5 years, everything is so dire. Like, oh my God, we have to have this. Everybody's like overcompensating. And I think that we've been moving forward as a society for a long time, but now we've disrupted that normal evolution by supercharging our people being offended or whatever. But what we really need to start doing is looking into what's happening in the future, which is, what are the rights of people that die? You know, where does that come from? Who owns your soul, essentially? And do you want to be digitally recreated? And Shatner doing this AI thing is really interesting. You talk about Gattaca. Gattaca came out this week on 4K, and Gattaca, we're getting very close to that world where you can design your babies. Mm-hmm. Like, if you want to design your kids, should you step into the middle of Mother Nature and decide, I'd really like to have a blonde kid that has hazel eyes and all? Should we be doing that? Yeah. And we're not addressing these kinds of things, and technology is moving rapidly forward, and we're still arguing about whether or not, you know, we need safe spaces in college, and yet, which is absurd. I mean, when I went to college, I'm like, I wanted it to be dangerous. I want college to be intellectually. I want to be exposed to ideas that challenge me, that are difficult to deal with, and I want to hear speakers that I don't agree with, so I can learn something. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Nowadays, it's like, nope. It's so weird.
Yeah.
But I mean, how is this civilization going to deal with the moral conundrums, the ethical conundrums that our technology is going to bring us if we yell and scream at each other on Twitter and cancel people for saying something you don't like?
Yeah, it's going to take us by surprise. We're gonna find ourselves in one of those conundrums, and we're gonna not be able to do much about it because we've been distracted by all this other stuff.
Yeah.
By the way, I wanted to issue a correction. Jason Momoa was in Stargate Atlantis, not Andromeda.
Okay.
There we
go. Anthony Gonzalez sends in a tip and says, in my opinion, I love the fact that this has turned into this erudite conversation. Don't think for a minute, this is not still fucking metal. Yeah!
Philosophy is metal.
Drink some whiskey. Yes. Yeah. I just want to make sure that we get that cleared up. Anthony Gonzalez says, in my opinion, Deep Space Nine was ahead of its time. And with that said, I really wish they made a film or two with that cast, because I think the films would hold up better than the TNG ones do. No disrespect to the TNG fans here. Mm-hmm. What do you guys think? What do you think, guys? DS9 movie?
Yeah.
It probably would come into battle with the TNG movies, considering the time frame, perhaps. Wow. So I think they wouldn't have both two movies out at the same time, probably.
You know, I wrote an article for Sci-Fi Universe magazine back in the 90s, and I said that they should do a Deep Space Nine movie and shoot it like an indie film. You know, make it like a Tarantino movie where you don't need the big budget. Because I was thinking like the first season episode Duet, which is basically a guy in a room,
Right.
Harris Yulin in a room with Kira. I think the Star Trek franchise, I mean, everyone knows, has been frankly fucked for a long time, because
It's a mess.
you would think that Paramount would have had an executive whose sole purpose it was to oversee the Star Trek franchise.
Mm-hmm.
Do development. You got John Van Sitters, who's a great guy who handles consumer products and things like that. But there is nobody to chart the course. And for better or for worse, Rick Berman did that for 18 years. You know, and a lot of people thought he stifled creativity and he wasn't necessarily a Star Trek fan, but what he was trying to do was preserve the ethos of Gene Roddenberry. And yeah, he got more creative in the end. And I think the problem with Star Trek was the same people worked on it for just too damn long.
Yeah.
But there should be a Star Trek executive, and like a Kevin Feige at Marvel.
Yeah.
And I think there would have been a Deep Space Nine movie. You have the sets. I mean, why wouldn't you go, okay, we did Generations, Deep Space Nine's going off the air, do exactly the same thing. In 6 months, we're going to release a Deep Space Nine movie.
Yeah.
The same thing should have happened with Voyager. I mean, they've done that in publishing. You know, there's the post Deep Space Nine books, post Voyager books, really good stories. And the way they've handled Star Trek is so fucking lame. Look, I've hated Star Trek for the last 12 years. It's abysmal. It's so wrong-headed, everything that they're doing. And I think what they're doing is diluting their franchise and ruining its value.
Yeah. I always held hope that at some point they would consider, you know, it's like with Star Trek, it's either the regular series, you know, with 20 episode series, or I guess prior to the Discovery era, or it was the big budget films. And now with the Discovery era, we're kind of gone into more of the you know, the shorter 13 episode season and stuff. But I was always hoping that, especially as we entered the streaming world, that we would have opportunities for a one-shot miniseries or made-for-TV movies in the Star Trek universe, exploring different corners, or taking an aspect like, hey, where is Deep Space Nine now? And do like a miniseries or a film about that. Doesn't have to be the big budget one, but now that you have a streaming platform, that you could put a story like that out with a smaller budget and make it available through streaming. But it just feels like until some serious leadership changes happen at Paramount with regards to Star Trek, we're not going to see anything like that.
No, I'm just surprised at it's the storytelling, or lack thereof. I feel like, have you not watched The Twilight Zone or even Star Trek itself? Star Trek was always an allegorical story. I mean, it's bad science fiction and it's bad Star Trek. And I think the idea, ultimately, what I don't like about science fiction today as a genre, if you look at things like Forbidden Planet and Star Trek, there was an idea that humanity was going to be great. Yeah. Like these people in space had to be the best of the best because you're out there on the final frontier. And nowadays, because we live in a world where every kid gets a trophy, that the idea that half the crew of the Discovery feels incompetent to me. Like they can't do the very jobs that they're supposed to be doing. And I'm like, I don't like any of these people. They're going to get me killed. Yeah. They're going to crash their starship in the ice.
I know.
You know, I mean, and they're going to get, their ship's going to get commandeered. And they're like, I look at these people, I'm like, you people suck. There's no one on Star Trek, and it's not about people like, well, Rob, you know, you're being prejudicial against. Look, Benjamin Sisko as a white man, I love Ben Sisko. It was never about. The first woman I ever loved was Nichelle Nichols. It was never about race. It was about you're watching people that are fucking good at their jobs. Mm-hmm. They're really good at what they do, and it showed that all of humanity, the Enterprise was full of people from all over the world. But the one thing they had in common was they're fucking good at their jobs, man. Right. And I feel like now we're watching a show about people that are fucking idiots. And I'm like, they constantly lose shit. They get their asses kicked. They make dumb decisions. And I'm like, are you even paying attention? Michael Burnham's like, I'm going to go off with my boyfriend for a while. I'm going to go do this. Or I'm like, what? What are you doing? I do not like you. You're going to get us all killed.
The best
You're
Star
not
Trek
metal.
Yeah, not metal.
You are not decidedly not metal.
Best Star Trek show right now is the Apple TV series For All Mankind. To me, that is hands down the folks who should be in charge of something like Star Trek. And it's Ron Moore, who used to be involved with Star Trek and did the awesome Galactica reboot. But to me, that is filling that niche in a way that Star Trek has not done in decades.
In my head canon, For All Mankind is this precursor to the Star Trek universe.
It's what Enterprise, should have been, right?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, it is. It is.
It is so good. And again, you can have drama, you can have characters that are dealing with angst, but it has to be based in something real. It just feels so artificial in new Star Trek.
I agree.
Yeah.
Dieter's like, I like Discovery.
One of my biggest problems.
I can see your points, but Rob, I like shiny stuff, and it's shiny.
I know it's sometimes.
They look fantastic. I'll give you that. They look great.
It's a beautifully produced show.
Beautifully produced, but
Echo Base Network asks, over or under 40% George R.R. Martin ever finishes his Game of Thrones books?
Under
40%. What about you, Roberto?
I tell you, I think the value of the property has, ever since that last season came out, it has kind of caved in on itself. There's not a lot of excitement for anything spin-off wise and stuff. I would find it really hard to get motivated to finish the series when that was such a huge series, and it has just kind of like completely gone into a black hole. I
have never seen, like, I thought the first 3 episodes of season 8 were great.
Great
and
setup.
the last 3 episodes were, I have never seen something implode.
Mm-hmm.
I like to the point where I was literally perplexed by the whole White Walkers attacking Winterfell. I'm like, because they've set up the White Walkers to actually, they thought they had tactics. They're like, we're going to take down a dragon, and I'm wearing armor and Hardhome and all this. When it was over, I'm like, what? Like, you've been teasing the White Walkers since the very first episode, and apparently they had no plan. They were not doing any like if I had made that show, I would have had them, because in Game of Thrones style, like, everybody at Winterfell's preparing for this battle, and the White Walkers would have just gone right past.
Mm-hmm.
They no battle at all. They just, and everyone's like, wait, what? They just marched right up, because what does Winterfell mean to them?
Right.
Nothing happened in Winterfell. Nothing, it was so, why did they go there? It was so disappointing. I've never, and I loved Game of Thrones, but I don't think I'll ever, because it goes nowhere. It doesn't have an ending. Game of Thrones does not have an ending where that means anything. Mm-hmm. By the way, John Campia, if you ever watch this, you are so wrong in liking the end of that show. Of all the things, I love John. He's been a great friend and a great collaborator, and he continues to be. The one thing that I will never understand, John, this is to you. John, you're so wrong about the end of Game of Thrones. It is one of the most egregious storytelling betrayals in all of human history.
One of the biggest disappointments for me was, what was the point of revealing Jon Snow's parentage? Like, that went literally nowhere. Like, it was being set up as this monumentally important thing, and nothing came out of that. It's so going back to the question about finishing the book, I would find it really hard as the creator of the series. It's interesting how the kind of crashing and burning of that final season has tarnished the entire kind of property in a way. So yeah, I would find it very hard to stay motivated. And every time that you hear new news about, there's a planned spin-off of this, a spin-off for that, like it doesn't really register. There's no excitement for it.
No, I mean, because the thing is, it doesn't. When a story doesn't go anywhere, it doesn't matter how good the prequel might be. Mm-hmm. You just don't care. Like, the great thing about Lord of the Rings, even though I'm dubious about this series, I think the series is probably going to turn out to be a massive clusterfuck. The end of Lord of the Rings is terrific.
Satisfying.
You know, it is. The whole idea of, I can't carry the ring, Mr. Frodo, but I can carry you. You know, and going into the Crack of Doom and Gollum and all that stuff, and it's so satisfying, and it'll always work. So, to me, watching a story about the Second Age, while I don't know why it's called Lord of the Rings, which doesn't make much sense, but okay. I mean, but at least you're not.
It's the brand drop. It's the IP.
I know.
Gotta use it.
Are they calling it Lord of the Rings? Are they going to call?
Yeah,
it
they're calling Lord of the because technically, I mean, it is the Second Age. The rings are forged.
Sure. I don't know. It'd be interesting. Maybe they played off of Rings with a different title, like Age of the Rings or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
David Galvez. This is a good one. Do you guys believe in alternate dimensions and alternate versions of ourselves? Mm-hmm. Now, who's baked, David? No, I'm just. And if you are, it's fucking metal, man. Do you?
In the dream world, yes. Because considering the dreams that sometimes I have, damn, this is some wacky, crazy shit.
Come on, man. Okay, Dieter, tell us about a dream that you've had of your
what's the
dream?
Sometimes you dream and you wake up and you think, where am I? What am I? Who am I? Because and you can't figure out how this dream came about. I can't tell the top of my head, but it's all a blur, but strange stuff that happens in dreams.
Well, you know, quantum mechanics and all the there's all the parallel universe theory and all that. I here's the thing. While all of that seems on paper interesting, my experience of living in the real world, people are like, well, Rob, you know, it's all a simulation. It's not real. Mm-hmm. That could be true. And everything I believe could be wrong. But I can't believe that there's alternate dimensions of all of us. Like the world, like all of these dimensions are running at the exact same time. Mm-hmm. Like there's every decision we make in other dimensions is split differently and all that. I don't buy that. Mm-hmm. I mean, it might be, and I'd like to believe that there is a version where there's a Rob Burnett who is hugely successful in the entertainment business and has lots of money and can buy as many Maju cases for his hot toys as he wants. You know, I'd like to believe that guy exists, but I just don't.
Well, and it's funny because when I try to read any, you know, or watch PBS specials on quantum physics or try to kind of, you know, get at least a layman's understanding of parallel universes and stuff like that. From my understanding is that, you know, if they do exist, you know, there's this possibility that these things exist, that we could never witness them. So it's just like, well, you know, since it's not like the DC multiverse where I can just go through a portal and appear at if it were that easy.
Those nice portals.
But this idea that, well, even if they do exist, we simply don't have the capacity or the ability to experience these things. It kind of like, you know, ultimately it's kind of a moot point, right? If you know you can't do anything about it, even though you can dream about it, I guess, there's not much point in kind of reveling in it. So.
Yeah, I mean, I also think, I mean, while we talk about it, I think in a way it's almost like thinking about the afterlife or about God.
Right.
That do you think that the being that could create the universe is like watching your life? Like of all the things, God himself, the entire infinitude of creation. You know, you look at it like he's watching what you're doing right now.
Right now.
And it's like
we are his streaming services. No, next one.
Next
one.
It's just, and we're this one planet.
What?
So
you remember that graphic novel I sent you, the 10 billion years graphic novel?
Yep.
It kind of speaks to that, right? It's like that idea that when you think about us in the cosmic scale, we are literally here for the blink of from the universe's perspective. We're not even here for the blink of an eye.
No, and but that's why when you start thinking about playing around with those concepts in your mind, you realize how unique everybody really, like, I really believe that. I'm like, my God, if you start thinking, because most people don't ever think about that.
Yeah.
But if you start delving into just the distances between the planets of our solar system,
right?
And the fact that people are like, yeah, we have another probe on Mars, whatever. Right. It's so astonishing that we do. And yet, that's what happened in the space program. I mean, in Capricorn 1, which came out in 1977, there's a great speech that Hal Holbrook gives about how the space launches. You know who came to the launch today? Not the president, the vice president. The vice president and his plump wife. And he's talking about how we have no sense of wonder and no awe about all this. I mean, now we're on Instagram, and I'm going to look at Kylie Jenner's latest post, and blah, blah, blah. And when you think about it on the cosmic scale, like, I'm always thinking about that. Like, I walk around. I actually, when I was working on the Star Trek experience, before I wrote Free Enterprise with Mark, the Hubble telescope, they published in National Geographic, it was a fold-out of the deep, they call it the deep sky picture. It was the picture the Hubble telescope took, and it looks like it's all stars,
all the galaxies.
But it's all galaxies. And I put this picture up, and for like a week, I had literally an existential crisis where I found it very difficult to work. I mean, I'm watching Star Trek. I'm cutting all this stuff and I was sitting home at night thinking, nothing that I do matters. Like, nothing. This and my entire life, I could win all the Academy Awards and make the greatest films in the world. And I had put this picture up. I finally had to take it down. I couldn't look at it anymore because I'm like, I can't. I'm thinking there's thousands of, and this was, by the way, this was just the camera was focused in like the one speck of sand all the way back to the end of the universe, and it was so mind-boggling to me that I really couldn't function for like a week. I didn't go see a therapist, but I probably should have. It was the only time in my life I'm like, I can't handle this.
It was mind-boggling to the astronauts they were not expecting to capture what they captured. I remember they themselves being like, this is beyond anything that we had expected that they were going to be able to capture. No, I'm totally with you there, Rob.
I remember when you talk about the Mars rover, way back when the first space shuttle came back, was a huge deal on TV. When the first space shuttle came back from space and landed, that was great. It was great.
Yeah, I mean, and we take all this stuff for granted. Yeah. And it's one thing about From the Earth to the Moon, or For All Mankind, From the Earth to the Moon's great too, by the way. But the Blu-rays sucked. But the For All Mankind sort of reminds us
totally
like that. Was it episode 1 where the solar flare hit? Or was that episode 2 of the second season?
Episode 1 of season 2. Yes.
Oh my God! Like that was awesome. Like I'm because it reminds you of just how the cosmic void that we live in. What, like, we don't even we just like, the sun's out. One solar flare. If you watch like Alex Proyas's movie Knowing, one solar flare fries the planet. All of human history is gone in an instant.
Oh.
And like, we don't even whatever.
Yeah. No, in a way, For All Mankind is this. Speaking of parallel universes, it really does give you a glimpse into what could have been had history had a little tweak of history would have changed. That's one of the things I enjoy so much about this show.
That's what I love the most about it. It's like we should be so much further along. I love that one episode. I think it's episode 3 when the guy's out. He has an electric car plugged in.
Yeah,
it's like, what is it, 83? He's got the electric car. It's like, it's an electric car. like 25 years before we have electric cars.
And they have these really cool little monitors. They're already kind of doing Skype calls, but they're like these retro-looking devices.
Well, I mean, what people forget is and Congress, the way people think that, oh, why should we pay for this? And one of the things that no one really remembers is all of the byproducts of space research. And I love in For All Mankind, it's like, yes, they own their own patents. Like NASA owns, that's how they're a self-funded organization in For All Mankind.
Yep.
And I love that.
And I also like that. I think it was in the beginning of season 2. They did kind of like getting us caught up on the last decade at the beginning, and they do all these like little news clips and news stories, and you see how because of something that was done for NASA, the 3 Mile Island accident never happened. So the stigma of nuclear power never happened. So we have become, self-sufficient as a society because we use nuclear power. Really interesting things like that really are fascinating little bits and pieces that they throw in there. It's a really, really well done show.
So good. By the way, Richard K says, question for the three of you. Worst 4th movie? Die Hard 4, Lethal Weapon 4, Pirates of the Caribbean 4, Superman 4, Star Trek 4, or Jaws 4?
I got one worse than any of those. Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Dieter, what say you?
Just because of the expectations, right? It's one thing, Jaws 4, by then I didn't expect much from that. But with Indy, I still had high hopes, and that one was probably the biggest disappointment.
I agree.
What was the options again, Rob?
The options were Die Hard 4, Lethal Weapon 4, Pirates 4, Superman 4, Star Trek 4, Jaws 4. First of all, I want to say, though, I think
Superman 4.
Star Trek 4 is not a disappointment. I wouldn't say Star Trek 4 is a disappointment.
No, not at all. And by the way, I think Live Free or Die Hard, I like Live Free or Die Hard.
I don't think I ever saw it.
It's aged well, I think. I like it. Lethal Weapon 4, Pirates 4, I think are respectable. To me, since you asked in your list, I think Superman 4 and Jaws 4 are the worst of what you... But I
the
think
setup prior to those, they were already in decline long before those movies came out.
Yeah.
I feel.
By the way, Tom Fox does say Jason Momoa was in Stargate Atlantis. I started rewatching.
Yeah.
Kevin sends in a super chat and says, speaking of Michael Mann, how did you feel about Collateral? I always thought it was cool how the film looked like it was shot on a cheap digital camera. Well, I have to say, Kevin, it was. I mean, it was actually shot on, I believe, the Viper, which was a one of the first like higher definition video cameras. And what I loved, I'll never forget this. Michael Mann said the reason he wanted to shoot digital because he could see into the night. Like when you pointed a camera like that down the street, you could see all the lights. It wouldn't disappear like film would. And I think you're absolutely right. Collateral has first of all, I fucking love Collateral. I think Collateral's great.
Yeah.
And I think it looks, the look of it is part of the reason the verisimilitude of what the story they're telling. I think it works really, really well. I bought the 4K disc. I've not watched it yet, but I'm
with you, Rob. Bought it too, but haven't watched it.
What do you guys think about Collateral?
Great movie. Loved it.
Yeah, and Michael Mann has an aesthetic all his own. I mean, you can tell right away that a Michael Mann movie is a Michael Mann movie, and so this is his handycam version within that Michael Mann world, right? This is in that kind of stylized hyper neon neo noir world that he creates. This is the movie that he filmed with a handheld camera, on the cheek, but it's still very much of that Michael Mann stamp.
Yeah. No, I agree. Dieter, you a fan?
Yes, but I haven't seen the 4K disc.
Yeah, no, I haven't
either. I have to watch it.
Ash Chauhan is here and says, why not just hire an actor that looks like the deceased actor, or maybe, I don't know, use makeup? This need to CGI everything now is, I think, lazy, especially when more convincing methods like, hiring living actors and using makeup exists. I have to say, I kind of agree with that. Like, we all know Peter Cushing's dead. So, if you hire the actor that was in Revenge of the Sith, who looked good. Like, I remember thinking, oh my God, when Vader and Tarkin are at the end watching the Death Star being built, I'm like, that guy looks like Grand Moff Tarkin.
Yeah, that's the guy from Farscape.
Yes.
That's who it was, yeah.
And like, I know when I know Peter Cushing's dead, so I can't get past, like, I'm looking at this, I'm like,
I know. Yeah, or when they, like, there's been all this talk about why not get Sebastian Stan to play a young Luke Skywalker and stuff like that. I mean, the problem is then you do something like that with like Han Solo, and then there's a lot of backlash against it too, right? I mean, I can understand. I mean, maybe it's because of still having the character around or the actor around. It's one thing when the actor is dead, but you're gonna face. It's a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation.
Yeah, I mean, I think Sebastian Stan could actually crush it as a young Luke, but I mean, I'm loving Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yeah,
I know who I stream with a lot. He doesn't like the show. I loved it. I loved both episodes. They've gone in directions I didn't think they would go in. And like, if you haven't watched, for those of you, spoiler alert, if you haven't watched the new episode, the idea that there was another super soldier that they've clearly stolen his blood or taken stuff from him, and someone's using it, Baron Zemo or whatever. I'm really, the direction the show is going in is very unique. I think it's really interesting. I really like it.
Yeah, me too. Did you recognize the girl from yesterday in the truck?
Yeah, where is she from? It was driving me.
Solo, Rob. Solo. The end of Solo. She's the rebel girl.
That's
from Solo.
right. Yes. God,
what's the character's name? But yeah, the one who keeps chasing them all throughout the movie in Solo, and then in the end she's revealed. I can't remember her name.
Yeah. Richard K sends in a super chat and says Voyager was the best Star Trek. They should have made Voyager movies. First of all, Richard, respectfully, Voyager is a copy of a copy of a copy. And while I have to say, I've sort of been going through Voyager and rediscovering it's a very inconsistent series, but there's a lot of good stuff. Elizabeth likes it better than Deep Space Nine, which makes me want to punch her in the face. I never would. Obviously, I'm not a violent person, and I don't advocate any kind of violence against anyone.
Yes, but Star Trek for everybody.
Yes, but it's really difficult when Elizabeth is like she's doing art, so she's painting or drawing, and she'll binge 10 episodes of Voyager a day, and I'm like, I'm like, really? And she's like, this show's way better than Deep Space Nine. Deep Space Nine's boring. I'm like,
oh. Take a deep breath.
I mean, I love her to death. I do. But sometimes, I feel like Ralph Cramden in The Honeymooners. It was a different time. To the moon, Alice! Can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
By the way, someone's going to take this out of context. I love Elizabeth. I would never lay a hand on her. Just so you understand all this, people are going to be like, oh my God. I don't advocate violence against anyone except people who like, no, I'm just kidding.
And if you know The Honeymooners, Alice always got the upper hand on Ralph anyway.
That was all. It's so funny because people are like, we're going to cancel that show. But that was the whole point, is that Alice always got the upper hand. And yes, the subtlety lost today.
Yeah.
Anonymous. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was just gonna say, going back to Voyager being the best show and doing movies with that. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think by then too, the Star Trek franchise had kind of run a little long in the tooth. So I don't know that they could have carried over into a movie again, unless maybe we were talking a TV movie project or something smaller like that.
Well, it's interesting. Kirsten Beyer, who's written a lot of Voyager novels, who's a producer on Picard and on Discovery, wrote some great books, and there was more story to tell. I don't know why they didn't. But I always thought Voyager was a show based on Star Trek tropes. It was a copy of a copy of a copy. We're going to have a half human, half Klingon. Yeah. And we're going to have a holographic doctor. It wasn't. It
had a cool idea with the Maquis and the Federation being stuck together, but then that just kind of fizzled away early on.
Once you leave the situation they're in, the Maquis is in a disputed territory between the Cardassians. When you're on the other side of the galaxy, well, who cares if they're Maquis? Like that idea didn't really work because okay, I'm no longer in my disputed territory. So,
right.
By the way, Anonymous sends in a tip and says Jason Momoa in Stargate Atlantis was metal. He was fucking metal. Yes, he was.
Jason Momoa in anything is metal.
That's true. Brandon Valenzuela sends in a super chat and says, "Don't worry, guys. Tarantino will save Star Trek." Well, his Star Trek's no. I mean, I don't think he would either. I think he would do a pastiche. He would do something. I love Tarantino. I love his movies, but I don't think he's the right choice for Trek.
I'd love to see Tarantino tackle sci-fi. I'd love to see something.
I would too,
especially because he's kind of explored multiple genres already, and I know that he's apparently coming close to the end of his final movie, or what he's talked about wanting to retire after a certain number of films. Would love to see what his take would be on sci-fi.
Yeah, I agree. Mm-hmm. I think it'd be interesting. Stub McShave says, I think George R.R. Martin has problems finishing the Game of Thrones books because of the show. He's a discovery writer and needs to discover his story. The show has really screwed with his process. If he dies, there's not a lot of notes on how to end it for another author. Yeah, not like your beloved Wheel of Time series. I agree. I mean, also, you know what? I think George R.R. Martin probably watched the end of Game of Thrones and like
that's it for me.
I mean, honestly, I do believe that he'd be like, well, fuck,
right, right. No matter what I do, I still kind of end up in the same place, and
it's a bummer. I just would love to hang on a second. I'm going to show you all something. I've shown it before, but it's late night because I can. So at Comic-Con in, I want to say in 2013, yeah, maybe. I was at the San Diego Comic-Con, and Melinda Snodgrass, who wrote Measure of a Man, who's best friends with George R.R. Martin. We went to a Comic-Con party, and we were in the VIP section. So here is me, if I can show you. Here's me with Melinda Snodgrass looking longingly into my eyes with George R.R. Martin. Check this out. Look at that. There I am wearing shorts, sneakers, and my Aurora models, how wasted am I? Probably wasted. But, I'm in the VIP section at a party at Comic-Con, apparently Rob-splaining something to George R.R. Martin. So there you go. Me and George R.R. Martin, and there's Melinda Snodgrass looking all cute in the corner there. And so there you go. There's me. There's my experience with George R.R. Martin. Notice, I think he's drinking a Coke. There's not. I am. If you actually look, I'm like balancing multiple drinks. If you look there, you see there's two. There's literally two drinks on my knee. There's the first drink and the second drink right underneath my hand. Apparently, I must have spilled one too. So there you go. I don't know. There's me and George.
Like you told J.R. Martin, wait till you see how your show will end.
I know, right? You think you're on top now, buddy? Just wait. With my son, what a douche. I was a douchey douche there, but it's a party at Comic-Con. What do you want?
Yeah,
it's not like you can do anything. So Stubble also goes, he says, I get the title Lord of the Rings for the show. The Lord of the Rings is Sauron, and he's going to be the focal point and central character of the series. Well, that's true. And in the Second Age, Sauron is a man. Like, he's a human character. So, yeah, I agree with that. I think you're probably right about that. Louis Terrazas comes back and says, Rob and the panel, I believe, do you believe in UFOs? Have you ever seen one? I have. What do you guys say?
I have not, but if there's one movie that made me believe, it was Fire in the Sky.
Dude, that shit was scary as fuck.
Yeah, totally. It got me on the edge of my seat.
Roberto?
And still do.
I'm the kind of person who thinks that if there is other life out there, it's gonna be so completely different than we are that I just don't know that it would ever even be something that we could perceive, or conceive of in the way that we perceive ourselves and organic beings like the ones that we know. So
I kind of agree with you, Roberto. I'm like, everything, whether we're talking about God or aliens, they're all reflections of us,
right? Of
us as human beings. And I'm like, we can't conceive of anything different because this is all we know. Right. And even our technology, these ships move differently than anything we've ever made before. I'm like, of course they would, because we can't conceive of them.
Right.
And I'm like, no, someone's testing some super secret shit we don't know about. I would love to believe, but even if you look at our conception of aliens, like the gray aliens or whatever, they're still basically, we're relating them to us.
Yeah, so it's like humanoid type of things.
Yeah, it's like, can you imagine like the idea of what if like cephalopods, like, or whatever, octopi, whatever, are I mean, those are pretty. They're really smart creatures. They never needed technology, or they never, like, what if they're supposed to evolve, or dolphins are supposed to evolve technology in a million years? We just happen to have, because we're bipeds or whatever on this planet with our gravity, we got lucky.
Right.
But we still live on a planet with all, like, I have to tell you what's very funny. I was never a dog owner until Elizabeth and I got Gilbert, and then Tallulah. I always had cats. But what I found really interesting is Gilbert is a very empathetic dog. Like, he literally, there are times when he'll come up to me and put his paw, like he'll put his paw and touch me. And I understand, he understands that he needs to do this. Yeah. And like, Tallulah's insane. She's like mentally defective. And when she's barking, Tallulah, Gilbert knows we don't like how loud she barks all the time. Gilbert will walk up to her and literally put his paw on her. And he doesn't know, like, he can't say, but I find he's a very empathetic creature. And I've been fascinated watching him and interacting with him. Like, he's by the way, their favorite thing, Dieter, those German dog treats you send to me. I made a video. I want to send it to you. So Dieter sends these. They're like, their dog. They come with these sticks, and you're supposed to. They're indented, so you break them off. They're like, they're little things. No,
not a chance, Rob.
No. So I open them up, and they come, and I just push out. So you get this thing, and each one grabs it and takes the whole thing and leaves and eats it. But they love them. But it's fascinating to watch. And I think to myself, I'm like, I know that Gilbert wants to communicate more than he can. And I know that he's frustrated. He might not understand why or whatever. But he wants to say more to me than he can. And he knows, because I talk to him. Like, I literally sit down and talk to him, and he knows that I know what he likes. Like, the top of his head, he likes scritching it and whatever. Yeah. He knows that I figured that out, and when he does that, he's like, "This feels great," and I wish I could convey to you how much I like this and appreciate this, but I just can't. And I can see it in his eyes. Like, when I talk to him, I think that, and maybe again I'm projecting, but I know he's thinking, I wish I could communicate with you more. I mean, I see that, and it's so interesting because he's a very smart dog, and he has a lot of empathy and emotion, and I know he tries to tell me things that I don't understand. Yeah, and it's frustrating for him.
Could it be that he reaches out your paw to you and thinks, I know about Star Trek. I know. I feel your pain.
Maybe he's sitting there. Maybe he's sitting there thinking, "I know Rob is trying to communicate with me, and I know that he has this empathy for me. He just wishes he could communicate with me."
Oh no, it's absolutely true. And again, the funny thing about it is like, but to your point, Roberto, am I imposing this on him?
Right.
Like from my human perspective, I'm imposing this, that I've anthropomorphized everything he does, even though I know it. I know I'm not, because I'm also aware, because I'm thinking, am I imposing this on him? But no, I'm not. I'm actually observing his behavior.
Right.
And we've been very, like, we are very good parents and dog parents and care. And he's a very interesting dog. Like, and he's a big dog, but yet he's kind of but it's just, for me, it's frustrating too, because I'm like, sometimes I think, God damn it, why can't you just talk? You know, I love my dog. I'm like, just talk to me, man.
Don't wait for the translation. Answer me now.
Don't wait for the translation. Answer me now. Wow, nice General Chang pull.
Good pull.
That's what I'm talking about. That's Star Trek 6, ladies and gentlemen. Dieter Bastian from Saarbrücken, Deutschland.
Yeah.
But
I was gonna say, no, go ahead, Rob.
I feel that way though.
Yeah.
And I know that he is frustrated that he can't communicate to me what he wants to communicate. And if I, rub his head, then sometimes all he wants is, I want my tummy rubbed. I'm hungry. His what does he think of the universe?
Right.
Like, he doesn't know. But that's what I find fascinating. He's aware. He's clearly a conscious entity. He understands when he knows Tallulah barks loud. He knows we hate the barking Tallulah does. So when he barks and he wants something, he doesn't go woof. He goes woof. He has this low, and he'll come up to me close and he'll go woof. And he knows, oh, you're hungry. And he knows, so he has cognitive reasoning that's going on, and I watch it every day, and it's incredibly. So imagine if there's some alien species,
right.
Out in the world, some, and they've got amazing technology. We could look like ants. We are
gnats to them, right?
Yeah, they would have they might not even, we believe we're so important, but they might not. And let's say God did in fact create the universe. And there's this amazingly advanced species. Who do you think God's going to pay attention to?
Right.
If we find out that there's an amazingly technologically advanced species that's so far beyond us, our entire civilization would have an ideological shock, realizing that, all of our beliefs, because our religions are the last vestige of our importance in the universe. Yeah. We know that the earth is not the center of the universe anymore. We revolve around the sun. So if we find out that there's a very technologically advanced race of aliens, and what if they show up and they're like, oh yeah, we know God. We know. What if they do? Yeah. We understand, God did create the universe. We are his chosen people. That's why we talk to him. We talk to the creator of all things. That's why we have all this technology. What would happen to our civilization?
One of my favorite first contact stories is Mary Doria Russell's The Sparrow, which is going to be made into I think it's being turned into a TV series or a miniseries.
That shit is dope.
And I think to the person who asked the question, if you haven't had a chance to read that book, The Sparrow, I think it plays with this idea of how our expectations and our own kind of perception of what a alien race should be, what happens when that doesn't quite align with what the alien race actually turns out to be. So I would highly recommend the person who asked to check out that book if they haven't done that, or to be on the lookout for the series, because I think
I bring it back to Louis Terrazas, and he asked about UFOs. His question originally was, do we believe in UFOs? Have we ever seen one? So now we're
a little bit sidetracked.
You know what? This is why the show's fucking metal, man. You never know when philosophy will just dominate. Send me more liquor. Oh my God. Yeah.
He just wanted to know if we saw something flying in the air. That's it.
I have to tell you, this is like the
And it's about
greatest
the meaning of
stream of
life.
Yeah, it is. This is like one of the greatest streams I've ever done. It's 2:30 in the morning, and I'm like, we've got many chats to get through. We got time. Are you boys in for a little while longer?
I could stick for another 30 minutes or so, but I'll probably have to call it at that point.
All right. We're here. So Louis, you're a good man. Look what your excuse me, I'm burping. Question did. Mr. Grant Gregory sends in a super chat and says, "Glasses, beards, good takes. I love this stream." Well, Mr. Grant Gregory, we're with you. Thank you for loving this. I have to say, like, I thought I was going to come out and like scream into my microphone. Now I've got three. We got three people. I got two gentlemen I respect greatly. By the way, let me just both of you are men that I would not have met had I not been doing this show.
Totally.
And Roberto, you are one of the only people I've met, imagination connoisseurs I've met in the real world.
Oh,
and
I feel very lucky to be privileged to have had that opportunity.
Well, I have to say, right before lockdown, I was in New York City, and then I flew to Portland to shoot more of Crisis Medicine, this medical lecture series I did with Dr. Mike Schertz. And you were there, and you took us out. You generously hosted us and bought us drinks, and in beautiful downtown Portland.
I know.
And that was actually in the first week of February in 2020.
Yeah.
And you've hosted Zoom calls, and you become a great member of the Post-Geek Singularity. And Dieter Bastian, a man who offered to lend me a hand, Rob, if you want to get this. And now Dieter and I we're going to do our 19th YouTube show this weekend.
Strange.
That's awesome.
Strange times, Rob.
And so I have to say thank you to both of you. And I think what's really amazing is that this technology that we, take for granted, but like two guys I greatly respect, who I consider good friends. Isn't it funny? Like, we have good friends. I have never been in a room with you, Dieter. But I've never. I have no idea.
Let's see what the future holds.
But I would say that if I met you, like, I consider you to be not just a guy I met on YouTube, but I consider you to be a really good friend.
Yeah.
And Roberto, you too.
Definitely.
Yeah, and I think that we have a fun time and we have a great relationship. And what's weird is our friendships have developed live in front of the world.
I know.
And it's and now this stream right now, how crazy is like a late night stream that we're talking, but I do find this very uplifting.
Yeah.
And Roberto, you're like an educator and a father and a good man, and Dieter, you've got a real job where you work for companies that are making things that we all drive around in and all that stuff.
Yeah. Wow. And I was just sitting, wanted to relax, to watch a midnight metal show. And then, wait, I invite Dieter. What is he doing now? He wants to invite me? God damn it.
But isn't this? I mean, this is why I think that a lot of people.
This was a spur of the moment, Rob.
This entire metal stream has been. But this is I would implore people to with any kind of toxicity or whatever, take a step back and look at, like, this stream tonight is nothing but love. And we are. Who would have ever thought? You're in Saarbrücken, Deutschland. Roberto's in Portland, Oregon. I'm in California. And the idea that we can use this, and I think, and lest we not forget all the people that have been firing in questions from all around the world, everybody who's sent in. Like, I didn't even, like they're super chatting and tipping and like I'm not like you can super. They're doing it, and even all of them are offering really interesting ideas and things and how cool is that?
Hard questions to answer.
Yes, hard question. Yeah, especially if you don't speak the language.
Yeah.
And so Kevin, that said, now that the love has been spilled, I mean, there's a lot of love here. Like the Ewoks, celebrate the love, yub yub, yub yub, whatever. Kevin says, I recently read that Michael Keaton may not return as Batman in The Flash due to a busy schedule, and if so, Bale may take his spot. Not sure how I feel. Let me tell you something. Here's what I think about that. That was a negotiating tactic. They've already announced it. Are you kidding me? After watching Michael Keaton's interviews over the last 3 or 4 years since he's come back into the public, of course he's going to do it. That's what I think.
What I read was that it had something to do with concerns about COVID. That's what I had read, that there were concerns about filming and the situation with COVID, which again could be part of whatever negotiation tactic is going on.
Look, man, he's going to do it. Are you kidding me?
I tell you, one of the things I'm most excited about, did you see that DC announced a Batman 89 comic book?
Yes.
I am so excited for that. And Rob, I don't know if you saw some of the kind of sample artwork that they're putting out, but they've done a Joker gang, and one of the Jokers is based on Prince.
Yep.
Oh my god.
Yep, because Bat Dance.
Because of Bat Dance. Oh my gosh. So
Kick-busting.
much potential there. I can't wait to see. I'm more excited for the Batman. They're also doing a Superman 78.
I know.
I'm more excited for the Batman 89. And it'd be cool if they even do how awesome would it be if in the Batman 89 series they did a crossover with the Nick Cage Superman, who would have been the Tim Burton era Superman.
Oh man,
showing up on that.
That would be awesome. It would be awesome. First of all, gentlemen, I just want to thank you all, because there are very few people in my life that could hang on a stream with me that are as geeky as I am. Like you, both of you are true imagination connoisseurs. I mean, it's great to have you. And on that question, Richard K says, the Jem'Hadar versus the Borg, who wins?
I mean, Borg in their prime. The problem with the Borg, like with many threats in our favorite genre properties, that the more we get to know them, the weaker they kind of become over time, right?
Yeah.
You get to know too much. Like same happened with the Alien, same happened with Darth Vader, kind of thing. Borg in their prime.
Finishing with Jameson, by the way.
The fact that they can adapt quickly to the rivals' technology, and then the moment they infect you with those nanites, you basically become one of them. I think I have to give it to the Borg.
Yeah,
me too.
And also because ultimately the Jem'Hadar believe in the Vorta and the founders. They have belief in the people that created them, even though the people that they're a slave race. Yeah. They're addicted to drugs. Right. The Borg are not. The Borg are just part of a collective. They're machine parts. Yeah. The Borg will always win. The Jem'Hadar will have a crisis of faith.
Yeah.
Tovids sends in a super chat and says, just on season 4 of The Expanse, I'm hooked. No spoilers. It's so good, dude. Right?
I'm jealous of everybody who tells me they haven't started it. I'm always like, oh, you're in for such a treat.
Yeah, it's
to experience that for the first time.
But you have to tell people you got to get to episode 4.
Yeah.
Of 1, 2, and 3 are a little like, but by the time you get to 4, it all gels, and you're like, oh, okay, I'm in.
Yeah, so good.
Dieter, are you a fan of The Expanse?
Yeah, totally. But like you said, it took me almost more than 4 episodes to get into the show, when all story bits came together more.
Yes,
got a stronger focus.
The convergence of those stories in the first season, you need about a half a season for them to kind of really start.
So I can understand a lot of people have difficulty getting over that hurdle to watch through the whole season.
Yeah.
However, one thing we need to agree on that I'm sure you agree on: Expanse, metal.
Yeah.
Totally metal.
Dude, and not only that, I'll tell you about what I love about The Expanse as well. Everyone's talking about inclusion and all that. What I love about The Expanse is they've portrayed a human future the way I've always believed.
Yeah.
People, like, I personally, my philosophy is humanity is one species, one race, the human race. And we are only divided by the fact that we can't travel around and our, it depends. If you lived, say, in Africa where there's a lot of sun, you developed certain characteristics to protect you from that sun. That's what evolution and science is. When people migrated north and they lived in cold climates and things, they didn't need that kind of protection. So they were. So what I love about The Expanse is that all of the humans are all like mixed race people. They're all they represent, and I love that. And I think it's. Yeah. I think it's fantastic, and I think that's the whole. That's to me, as an imagination connoisseur, like as a dude, I've never. I look at pretty girl. If a girl is beautiful, if she's black, if she's Asian, if she's Icelandic, I don't care. I look at a beautiful woman. I'm like, you're beautiful.
Yeah. And
one of the great things about The Expanse is they never make a point of it, but they've cast the show extraordinarily well. And they're showing you a human future, which is a future of all people being represented, whether they're mixed race or whatever. It's fantastic. And they never draw attention to itself, unlike other shows that talk about, oh, look at how diverse we are.
Yeah.
Well, look, humanity will diversify itself, and The Expanse shows us that, and I love that.
And at the same time as shows like Discovery kind of want to highlight how diverse they are, when they have the opportunity to go into the deep future at a time where you would think we would be in some kind of a transgender, trans race world, we're still basically operating like how we've always had. Like there's, we're still talking about pronouns. You mean to tell me 900 years in the future, we're still going to be talking about non-inclusive pronouns? By then, we should be way past beyond that.
Oh, Discovery, Star Trek Discovery is a monumental failure of imagination. And like, okay, let's have our black female lead who we only have like a black dude boyfriend. And you're like, that show has segregated its characters. The gay characters, let's put the LGBTQ characters over here and the black characters over here. It's so, I watch it, I'm like, I think Discovery might be one of the most offensive shows ever in terms of race relations, because all it does is segregate its characters. It's so weird. I don't get it.
And in The Expanse, it just is. If there's if there's a gay couple, they just are a gay couple.
Nobody cares. Nobody cares.
Nobody. It's all just kind of part of everything, and everything is everything is just accepted. In this last season, there's a polyamorous couple, but they're not making the point of driving you. Oh, look at these people; they're polyamorous. No, they just happen to be polyamorous, and they're living their life in this plot, in this story. That's it.
Well, because that's when science fiction writers, their job is to extrapolate the future.
Totally.
One of the books, I read a book, I'm obsessed with this book. It's called Blind Sight by Peter Watts, a Canadian writer. It was nominated for the Hugo in 2006. Okay. And it's a first contact story, but it deals a lot with our human, it's set in like 2088.
Okay.
And it deals with a lot of these issues and our sexuality and things, and it does it in a very interesting way. And I'm like, I love the book because it was all very matter of fact, all this stuff. And I'm like, how come people don't get the fact that ultimately, if you really think about our own sexuality, it's a little wacky. Like, we have furries. We have people that want to dress up as furry animated characters, and it becomes and rub on one another. If we live on that planet, don't we think that there's other things that we should, like, human sexuality is pretty wacky. Shouldn't we just allow it to exist? I mean, if you really think about it, half of human sexuality is us dreaming or making mental images of things that turn us on. Like, I might get turned on by sand dunes or something. And yet we don't want to admit that we're a bunch of wacky folks. We're a bunch of wacky people. Like, we have these bodies that have a physiological response to stimuli, and we're going to make that something bad. I'm like, why is that bad? I don't know. Like, you know, I when I'm watching The Empire Strikes Back, I got to tell you, when I watch the Battle of Hoth, I get a hard on. It's fucking awesome. I kind of like, okay. This is why the show's metal. I'm like, you know what? Watching Luke take down a fucking AT-AT with his goddamn with Dak, you know, Dak dies. I'm like, fuck yes. Just go around that goddamn AT-AT. Take that shit down.
Bring it down.
Bring it down. Bring it down. God damn it. And I'm like, that's arousing to me. I'm like, well, yeah, there's a physiological response I'm having in my nether regions. Is that my sexuality or just like, it's fucking metal watching that shit? Fuck yeah. I mean, we are a nutty people.
We're bags of chemicals, and things interact, and it just triggers different things, and that's just how it is.
I mean, what's really funny is, let me ask you both. Do you like women's asses? Are you an ass? I'm an ass man. Think about what the ass does. I mean, if you really think about it, like when you watch
functions.
I mean, when you see a woman's like Al Pacino in Heat, she had a great ass. You know, and we love, and we're talking about the aesthetic beauty, and we all love the feminine form. Is we're biologically hardwired to love the feminine form, and asses are amazing. But you know, you think about it, and you're like, huh. Utilitarian. If you really start thinking about, well, yeah, if you leave the aesthetic arena, if you think about what the ass is for, you're like, oh,
yeah.
And yet, we can still make it awesome in our minds,
right?
And therein lies the rub. There is human civilization in a nutshell. We are disgusting, filthy, gross animals that have all, and at the same time, fucking awesome, man.
We're unique
we are
and we're awesome,
amazing people. There's only one of each of us. So anyway, that brings us to wow. People keep. This. I'm going to be here till 5 a.m. I swear to God.
You know what it is, Rob? Is because we've always talked about how we've done the streams, you know, during the day, but there's a whole half of the world out there.
Know.
That this is when they're available.
God love them.
Yeah, that's correct.
Interact with us.
God love them.
Would not have been available yesterday.
No, and Tom Fox says, what did you guys think of the Snyder Cut?
Well, I watched it 2 times already.
Me too.
Nice.
Should be saying something. I really love the opening. The opening that completely intersects with Batman v Superman. So still from the opening, in 5 minutes, I was in for the 4 hours.
Did you think it was metal?
Not the music, but some stuff was.
What about Wonder Woman's theme is fucking metal.
Oh man, that's
but for me, what wasn't metal was when Aquaman was taking this little stroll down the pier, and there was some music playing. That music was not particular metal.
And I
would have loved a more metalish song at that point.
All right, I understand.
I know it was a slow motion shot. You know, it had the right tempo to it.
Yeah, but philosophically, that shot was pretty metal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Jason Momoa and his body with the waves crashing, and he throws his like I would never do that, but he takes his fifth of liquor and he like throws it down.
Yeah,
and it smashes. Like I thought that I'm like, I hope the water washes away the broken glass, so no one.
I was gonna say, for somebody who's so concerned about the health of the oceans, throwing a bottle in the water was kind of a,
But you know what?
Negligent.
Because it was fucking.
Yeah, but he hasn't stepped up in his Aquaman days. And I pre-ordered the 4K yesterday.
Nice.
Well, I have to say, a shout out to the lovely Emma Bannon, who is hooking me up. By the way, can I? So Emma Bannon is one of the Post-Geek Singularity members, and she is always looking out for us. And she sends me the HMV. HMV is a very famous store in England.
Yeah.
And like, my first experience with HMV was back in the 80s when the Beatles first came out on CD. And HMV would release these beautiful box sets that we would have to import.
Like Best Buy or Savvy, they have exclusives.
Yeah, they're exclusive. So HMV has a Snyder Cut 4K steelbook.
Yeah.
And it's very King Arthur. All and
yes.
And I love that. I'm like, I love that. Some people have already photoshopped it where Batman's hand, instead of having the Batarang, has his credit card.
Yeah.
But I'm rich. But what I loved about it was I love the Arthurian nature of it. So, and people are like, oh, this cover sucks. I'm like, look. So Emma sends this to me. She's like, this is, HMV. I'm like, oh my God, I love that cover. I thought, for me personally, I'm like, that's awesome. That's the cover I want to get. So she pre-ordered. She's been good. She's Dieter, you've been amazing. I mean, getting me all the crazy shit. Totally. But at the last minute, Emma Bannon offers the assist. She's like,
because I'm having a hard time now, Rob.
Dieter does the slam dunks. But Emma Bannon's like firing in. She's like gets the ball and fire. Like Dieter goes up for the slam dunk, and it's Emma that fires the ball in and makes sure that Dieter can slam it down. So
right,
I just want to make sure.
Dieter
Emma's like, are you telling me that I'm some? No, you're unique, and I love you to death. I'm trying to this is my physical media metaphor, but right. Yeah, so.
Actually, I like the simplistic of the steelbook.
That's what I like too. So good, right?
Yeah. I love simple aesthetics.
Yeah.
And I was gonna say, speaking to Dieter's point, I too like the beginning of the Snyder Cut, because talk about tying the trilogy, right? The Man of Steel, and because in BVS we got the perspective of the destruction of Metropolis.
I love that so much.
At the beginning. And then here we get the perspective of what happened as Superman was dying. It served as a really good framing device to tie the three movies together. Because now, similarly, this movie starts with what was happening as Superman was dying and what was. So
it didn't start with this.
That. No, it did not.
We're fans of the Snyder Cut. Richard K says, I so want Jason Momoa as Kraven in the new Sony movie, Kraven the Hunter. You know what? I always saw Kraven as, while he is big and beefy, Jason Momoa could have played him, but I always saw him as like, if Jeremy Irons was younger and beefier. The villain. He it's got to be an effete, and yet somebody cultured. Kraven's, he's a monster, but he's got to be intelligent. Like, I don't know. What do you guys think?
Tough choice to cast. Perhaps cast somebody new that we don't know. It could be a good thing.
You know who I think would be a cool Kraven the Hunter? and I saw somebody do some fan art of him. Did you Mustafa Shakir? He played Bushmaster in the second season of Luke Cage.
Yeah.
I think that guy would be an awesome Kraven the Hunter.
Yeah, man, dude, that guy is rad.
That guy would be really, really cool. Yeah. And I saw somebody did some artwork. He was also in that movie by the director of Dragged by Concrete, the one that we did, the first one he did.
Yep.
Bone Tomahawk?
Bone Tomahawk? Or
the
Brawl in Cell Block
9?
Cell Block.
He's in that movie too.
Yep.
He would be a great Kraven, I think.
Yeah. Good idea.
And as far as Momoa, even though I do like him as Aquaman, I always thought Momoa would have made a perfect Lobo. He to me,
he's exactly Lobo.
He's Lobo.
He's the perfect Lobo.
So I'm surprised that he was cast as Aquaman before being considered for something like Lobo. But I like him as Aquaman.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's a great idea. Richard K goes on to say, Picard versus Kirk in an Enterprise battle. Who wins?
I can't see them fighting each other because I love in the Garfield
Federation,
Judith and Garfield Reeve Stevens Federation, they do a really cool thing where the two of them work together with their both Enterprise and they merge their shields and stuff.
Dude, Federation.
I would love to see them collaborate, not fight each other.
As a Star Trek fan, this is one of the frustrating things about Star Trek. There's hundreds of Star Trek novels, and no one who is working on Star Trek, they make fun of those novels. Even though Kirsten Beyer, who is working on Star Trek now, has written the best Star Trek Voyager novels. I mean, I'm like, there are 25. I'm not saying I should be put in charge of Star Trek, but I should be. But if I was, I would go. I'm like, here's 25 novels that already exist. We own them. There's also a screenplay we own by Eric Jedrickson.
Yeah.
That was takes place 8 years after Enterprise is over, that we should make and do his trilogy. Like we should do these things. The problem is everybody who gets hired to work on something, they're like J.J. Abrams' Bad Robot, they're not thinking like, you know what? We want to make the best Star Trek possible. They're like, oh, we've taken over an IP. Mm-hmm. And we're going to milk it and make this IP work for a Bad Robot. They've done it 3 times now. Star Trek, Star Wars, and now they're at Warner Brothers, and they're going to take over DC.
Yeah.
And the problem that I have with all of that, why it doesn't work, is they don't particularly care about what IP it is. They're looking at it as a friend. And I'm like, why that's a problem is if you look at what they've made. J.J. Abrams says, I didn't even like Star Trek. If you watch any interview he did when Star Trek 2009 was coming out, he made it a point to say, I don't like Star Trek. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, what the fuck? Why did you get this job? Who hired you? Who hired you?
That's what was cool. It was cool to say, I came in as an outsider and did my own thing with it, and I just
and it was like I was actually asked to watch. I went to Paramount like 4 months before the movie came out. I watched 20 minutes of it. I was so angry when I walked out of there, because the Chekhov scene where his thick Russian accent wasn't understood. You hire an actor who is Russian, who speaks Russian, and then you tell him to do a bad Russian accent? And the joke of Chekhov when they added him to the cast was that he would say that everything good came out of Russia. Only we understood Walter Koenig's accent was bad. Mm-hmm. And then they incorporated it into the continuity of the film. Yeah. To me, I'm like, I hate everybody who's involved with this. When I saw it, I was those first 20 minutes, I hated it so much. I walked out of the theater on the Paramount lot. Wow. And I wanted to punch Elizabeth, but I didn't know her yet. We hadn't even met, so I didn't even know she existed, so I couldn't. But I was so fucking angry. I'm like, these people do not understand what Star Trek is. I hated it. Oh my God, so bad. Yeah. So Kirk versus Picard, who wins?
Come on, Kirk.
Look, Kirk always wins. I mean,
I go with the line in Thursday. Okay, you have to give it up for Kirk.
Yeah, and Kirk's 90. He's older than Picard.
He is.
Laying down the smackdown. All right. Chuck Philpott says, our dumb mutt does that with her paw. She uses her front paws like hands. It's so funny. I know, Chuck, but she's frustrated. She's trying to convey things to you that we don't understand.
She's reaching out.
I know. Ash Chowhan says, hey, it's 2 a.m. and 2 hours have flown by of midnight metal. Midnight metal. Yes, this show is truly like Zack Snyder's Justice League. Unrated, engaging, swiftly paced, mythic, the Holy Trinity on display, and of course, fucking metal, man! Fucking metal! Fuck yeah! Well, Chuck,
and long. You forgot to say it's also just as long.
Yeah. I mean, my God, it's 3 a.m. Unbelievable. Ash, you were correct about that. Thank you for that. Amazing. So Richard K goes, Michael Fassbender as Bond. He would be great. Yeah,
I can see that.
I can see it. He'd be good.
Why not?
I'm all good with that. Brandon Valenzuela says, all I want is a Man of Steel 2.
I know.
Me too, man. I would, especially now.
Superman, the animated series, was just added to HBO Max. And to me, Deanie and Tim understand the character of Superman better than anybody else. We last night, me and my son watched I think they did the origin story over the first 3 or 4 episodes, and I was like, man, why can't they just bring these people in and develop these stories? The way that they approach Superman's Rogues Gallery, the way that they expanded into the New World, into the New Gods stuff. It's right there. You have it right there to adapt into film form, and they just continue to tap into the same well. Yeah, I like Zod, don't get me wrong, but there's all these other cool bad guys in that they could explore. All these, I mean, how awesome would it be to have a Mr. Mxyzptlk Superman versus Superman movie? I mean, it would be awesome. Parasite, Metallo, I mean, Toyman, all of these cool characters that have never seen the light of day outside of the animated series or comic books.
And they're great characters.
They're great characters.
Mongol, Warworld.
Against against any of these threats would be amazing.
Amazing. I agree with you. Nicholas, well, actually, I said Brandon Valenzuela said, all I want is a Man of Steel 2. Yes. Nicholas Glenn says, do you think the Borg could stop Vader's lightsaber? They would adapt. They would figure out what Vader would kill like 10 or 20 Borg, but then they would adapt and figure out, here's what we need to do. So, yes, the Borg would eventually adapt and Vader's lightsaber would not work. Right. Chuck Philpott says, okay, Invincible, based on the Robert Kirkman comic, Invincible dropped, the animated show dropped on Amazon. Yeah. Nicholas Glenn says, Chuck Philpott says, Invincible is, what do you think he said? He said it's
Metal.
fucking metal. It's metal. Ah!
I read that entire comic book run. It's a really, really great series.
It's so good.
And they do the same thing, 3 episodes at once, and then weekly.
Correct.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. That's how they drop the first 3 and then weekly after that. And I haven't seen it yet, but at least aesthetically, it looks very, very faithful to the comic book.
Yeah. It's good.
I have to put that in the watch list.
Richard K says Bourne versus Bond. Who wins?
I mean, as a longtime Bond fan, I'm gonna have to go with Bond. I don't know.
Me too.
Plus, I mean, we've only had one actor play Bourne. We've had multiple actors play Bond, so there's so many different facets and styles and ways in which Bond could be approached that I'd have to give it to Bond.
Yeah.
I give it to Bond too.
Little MacGyver.
He'd have some technology that would kill Bourne. 501 sends in a super chat. Cal Swack Props says, I love The Expanse too, although it took me through 3 attempts to actually finish the first season.
Yeah.
After that, it was smooth sailing until I got to the second half of season 5. You gotta agree, Marco Inaros has got one of the most punchable faces in sci-fi. Marco Inaros, you are so right. I hate that guy. Man, I hate that guy.
But I appreciate the complexity of that guy too.
Yeah, I do too.
It's you can believe his reasons for doing what he's doing, even though we hate him.
Hate that fucker.
Oh man.
But you know what? Marco Inaros is fucking metal. That guy is fucking metal. He literally commands metal starships that go through metal starship gates. So he's fucking metal. Yeah. I get it. Cal, can we talk about Swag Props? Can we just take a moment and
I just ordered something from him.
What'd you order?
I ordered the Hobbit map, the Erebor map.
Bruh. Let me okay. Why don't you explain to everyone what it is?
So it's a map of the map that is in the book The Hobbit, the one that is used for The Hobbit.
That we need
the company
to know how to get to Mordor.
To go to
not the Misty Mountains.
Smog.
No, here it is.
There it is. Okay.
Now, can I? So one of the great things about the channel, the Robservatory and Robservations, is that I got to meet people that are just as insane as I am, like you, Roberto, and you, Dieter. But one of the people that what I love is when their insanity takes form. So one of my favorite people that I've met, and look, not because I'm a materialist, I have to say that his work is so good and so insane and so nutty. And I'm like, the fact that somebody like Cal exists, again, isn't humanity great?
It's crazy.
So Cal from Swag Props lives in Malaysia. And Swag, it means it's the South Island, and so what he does is he makes prop replicas of things in movies that are made out of paper. And like when he first started coming on the channel, I didn't know Swag Props. I'm like, what the fuck is that? So I go into like Google and a newfangled contraption. I'm like, Swag Props leads me to his Etsy store, and the guy makes a book, a prop replica book from The Ninth Gate, a movie that I love, that I think 4 other people love, but apparently some guy in Malaysia loves it enough to make a book recreation of it. And I'm like, that is some guy I want to know.
Right.
So here is, again, like, he doesn't pay me any money. I'm just saying this shit is the coolest shit ever. What Swag Props does, so this is his, because he sent me one.
Yeah.
Of this is the map to the Misty Mountains. All right. Now, and I've shown this online before, but it came with this. When he sent it to me, I'm like, what is this? I'm like, what? So, I open it up. I'm like, okay, all right. Oh, I hope it's not out of juice. Well, maybe it is.
I know what it is.
Oh,
there
nope.
it is.
Yeah. So I look at this, right? And this looks exactly like I've been to Weta. This looks exactly like the shit they make for. It's so good, but I can't even talk about how amazing this shit is. Let me just put it up.
Look at this.
Like
Dieter.
if I can
look.
So look.
It has the moon runes.
Yeah.
They appear if you flash a UV light on them.
Yeah. Look at that.
Insane.
This shit is the most insane. I mean, like I feel like I am like Cal, who's he's like looks like a normal dude.
Yeah.
I think Cal is one of the most insanely awesome imagination connoisseurs who perhaps ever lived, because this shit is so next level. I mean, look, it's a piece amazing. Of paper. I don't even know how he does this. And wait, hang on. I don't even remember. Oh yeah, like let's just look. Like, can I do it? Wait. I'm posting it. Wait, I can't.
Yeah,
I can't.
I know where you're around.
You need to go. It's in that blank area there. There it is. There it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like you look at this shit, and it's. Let me take it out. Like, God damn it. For fuck's sake!
There it is.
Jesus Christ!
Yeah. Now you have it. Bro.
Look at that.
Crazy.
I don't even know how he does that. How did he do that? I don't know. It's amazing. And by the way, when you have this in your hand, it feels like it's 100,000 years old. Like it's the guy is amazing.
Yeah, the weathering, the creases, everything. Yeah.
What's curious is, like, I think I should have this framed.
Yeah.
And then the frame should have this little UV light, and it should say use the UV light and look at this and see the runes.
You know what I was thinking is a UV light built into the dwarven key.
Oh my god.
So if you had the key, and then you put that would be pretty amazing, and you have it hanging on a chain next to the
and the thing is, Cal's like, oh yeah, he's taking notes, like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do that. I mean, the thing that where we bonded was the fact that he made books from the movie The Ninth Gate. I loved The Ninth Gate. I was like, that means he loved the movie as much as I did, to the point where he's making prop replicas of the books. And other people do certain prop replicas. They do. But no one.
Not at the level.
No. Cal's work is beyond. If the funny thing is, I want to buy stocking stuffers. I'm like, I want to get everybody the 9 Gates, the book from the Ninth Gate. I want to get everybody that book, and I'm like, nobody would care.
Yeah,
only like 6 people in the world would love it.
Probably.
And the fact that Cal's making that stuff for those 6 people, God love him. Cal Swack Props is fucking metal as fuck. Metal as fuck.
And he makes true replicas. Like, he only has the stuff in there that is as it was shown in the movie.
Yep.
So he's very, very particular about giving you as close to what you saw on the film or
yeah,
whatever.
man.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
No, totally. Swack Prop says, Cal, says, I love The Expanse too. Although it took me through 3 attempts to actually. Oh, we already said.
Oh, yeah,
this.
we said that one.
Yeah, the Sam Drunk.
That
So-
led us to the
Yes,
swag
his
props.
whole. Hello, this show is brought to you by Cal from Swag Props. Please go to his Etsy store. I say that not glib. You will find something that will make your imagination. I mean, Swag Props he defines imagination connoisseur. Richard K says Thanos with the full gauntlet versus Superman. Who wins? What do you think?
Well, I think
That
I'm
would
gonna
be
have
an interesting fight, considering what you can do with the Infinity Stones.
exactly.
I just, I don't, just because I can,
Nice.
Uh,
The moment Thanos, can Thanos turn Superman into like jelly with the? With
Well, what if
one
they
of those
talk? What if
stones?
Thanos is like, hey, Cal, listen, buddy, do we have to fight? Like, I understand. I think you and I could really think about something that we could do together. Maybe make the universe a better place. That's all I'm trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, well, what do you think?
Let's make it 50-50 deal.
I don't even know. There you go. There. I've created using. By the way, thank you, Hot Toys. That was brought to you by Hot Toys. So
he would have told Superman Krypton would not have blown up had only 50% of the population been exploiting its resources.
yeah. Well, there you go. Right.
Yeah.
Oh, Thanos could have saved everyone. Let's see. Magic K says John Ostrander made a cameo in James Gunn's Suicide Squad. I didn't know that John Ostrander created or wrote the Suicide Squad comic. So that's cool.
Wow. Nice.
That's good. Jason 666 King.
That poster that came out for Suicide
Oh
Squad
my
is
God.
amazing.
Great.
So good. Angels have spooged over all of us. Whenever it rains, I'm from Seattle. I'm like, oh my God, I'm being covered with God's seed. I love that. It's so good. Jason 666 King says thoughts on the TV show Millennium starring Lance Hendrickson. It's one of my personal favorites. Wow, I loved Millennium, but every season it kind of changed. And season 1 is like 7, the series, which I loved. I was there for it. And I loved season 2 a lot. And then it was like the X-Files. They didn't know what they were doing. They didn't have an end. What do you guys think?
Well,
I haven't watched Millennium. Sorry, I'm out.
I think for me the issue was that it was sold. It was originally set up as the next X-Files.
Yep.
And I don't think it ever lived up to that hype, and it never quite found what it wanted to be. It was probably a little bit ahead of its time. Like if you think nowadays to series like Hannibal, you can kind of almost trace some of its DNA to Millennium. Because it was dark and it was, I remember it being, people being concerned about the violence and the content for mainstream TV. So yeah. But to be honest, I did not. I stuck with it for a little while, but did not stick with it for long. It just
So it was
not
the same
grab.
showmakers as X-Files. Or...
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
And I think a lot of people expecting it to be like the X-Files were kind of disappointed that it was so different. Yeah.
And also they didn't know, I mean, people forget, 2000, the year 2000, the millennium was literally coming, and what they did with the millennium was so lame. and Lance Henry, the first season was like, it literally was 7, the series, and they had to change up the mythology and what was going on. I mean, I liked Millennium, but I would have loved to see X-Files and Millennium did cross over in the most lame way. Like we're in a basement and the fate of humanity is being. It was so bad, and
Yeah, they tried to finish the story of Millennium by doing a crossover episode with X-Files, and it just
it was so. I mean, what I wish humanity could think beyond itself sometimes, and X-Files, and I think X-Files really suffered. I loved X-Files up until the movie in '98. And they destroyed their mythology. They didn't. They just explained it all away. And I'm like, the real problem with X-Files, the question I always asked is, okay, so humanity has been collaborating with these aliens. Where are they? Are they on the moon? You know, we know from the movie in season 5, there's a giant spaceship in Antarctica. Like who? Where's the alien bounty hunter from? Who hired him? And there's all these questions that they're like, they never, because they didn't know. They were just making the shit up on the fly. It lost
itself in its own mythology.
It bummed me out. And Millennium was really interesting. Like the whole idea of, I mean, even though the Millennium, we make all that stuff up, but the idea is like I would really have loved in Millennium if like the devil, I'm about to do my 666 show. What if the whole idea of fallen angels and all that, like Lucifer, Morningstar in the DC comics, what if that was real? You know, like there was the pantheon of gods, and there God existed, and there were these people, and what happens when the millennium comes? But it ultimately it's just us. Like only we have created all the meaning and we imbue it with. Anyway, we're getting a little
sidetracked here.
Anyway, so
one question and then I'm off.
You're gonna go?
Yeah, I'm hungry, Rob. I'm hungry, and I will check my post. All
right, I should probably let both of you go because it is 3:20 in the morning.
Yeah. All right.
I'm going to ask you guys one more question.
Okay, sounds good.
Well, actually two.
Because the show was getting longer than I was expecting.
I mean, this is supposed to be a one-off. Now it's going on for like 4 hours. But Brandon Valenzuela says, Rob, ask one of your Hollywood contacts to reach out to Henry Cavill and ask him what the hell is going on, bro. Well, that's not the question I want you to answer. I don't know him. Hollywood context, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. But that doesn't mean I'll keep my ears down to the grindstone. But the question I ask all of you is, Echo Base Network says, Bond versus John Wick. Who wins?
I mean...
In what sort of a fight? Hand-to-hand combat? Driving around?
See, I know, right? Now you're like, it's very funny. You and I, we all got quiet. We're like contemplating, like, what kind of a fight?
What kind of fight?
Weapons? I mean, this is why this show is
great. We had that great shot from John Wick where he put the gun together from the antiques in John Wick 3. So,
are they playing?
He's a capable dude.
Are they playing Baccarat? I mean, what Baccarat? What exactly are they doing? But no. Again, I always have to go back to Bond just because of longevity. He's been around a lot longer than John Wick. So my guess is that he's figured out many, many, many ways to survive.
I know.
But John Wick is nearly indestructible, pretty much. By the end of that third movie, I mean, the fact that he fell off a building and he's still walking around.
Couldn't he landed in some sort of trash can at least?
Amazing.
Exactly. Yeah. So who knows?
But straight to the concrete, that was pushing it way a little bit too far.
Gentlemen, I want to thank both of you profusely. A day ago, I went online and did I called it the Midnight Metal stream. And Roberto, you followed up with artwork, which is behind your head, and and you sent me music, which, by the way, if people don't know, like, let me just throw this on a little bit. this, of course, was, music that happened, and thank you for that. So I wouldn't have had that. But the fact that we've done this stream tonight, and it's 3:23 in the morning, this has been a 3-hour and 23-minute stream. This might be one of the greatest streams I've ever done. I want to thank you all, and by the way, I'm just sending you guys away. I'm still going to continue.
Rob's going to stick around
and do the stream. I got questions to answer. I mean, Emma Bannon sent us a question. By the way, because she says Godzilla versus the Smurfs. Who wins? I mean, I put up with enough of Emma's jokes.
This is a joke question, okay?
It's a trick question. It's a trick question.
Okay, trick question.
Okay, but I'm asking you both. You must have an answer. What?
I think the Smurfs win because they showed that movie to Godzilla, and Godzilla just wants to kill himself after watching the Smurfs movie.
Or maybe Godzilla's brought around to their way of life. Like, you know what? Why not be nice?
Yeah, that's true.
I think Godzilla ultimately is the defender of the earth. And,
that is true.
The Smurfs represent the goodness that the earth is.
They live in the mushrooms and all
that.
And
the Smurf village is perhaps too little to destroy for Godzilla. Yeah. Doesn't bother.
Yeah, well, all right. On that note, gentlemen, I am going to take my leave of you. I will say goodnight. Yep. I would say that the second episode of Midnight Metal, oh my God, you have made it. You've taken it above and beyond, which I can't I can't believe that this stream is now 3 hours and 25 minutes in, and I'm not done yet.
No.
Wow.
All right.
And all these people. So, Roberto, where can people find you online?
Yeah.
Or
I'm on Instagram, Twitter, all those things. I'm at Puerto Geekin. So sounds like Puerto Rican, but it's Puerto Geekin. So you can find me on Twitter.
And Dieter, you are like a government agent who's clandestine.
I'm exclusively tied to you, my friend.
Yeah. So people can find Dieter
comments
or contact Dieter. You can send messages to Dieter via the Burnettwork.net. Pardon me. Yeah, the Burnettwork.net website, and send us letters. And if you really want, if you want Dieter to do strange things for you or recite your poetry in his great German accent, you send me those letters. I'll make sure he gets them. And of course, Dieter and I do Let's Get Physical Media every Sunday. No, not tomorrow.
Well, tomorrow remember
tomorrow. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I'm already Saturday here.
It's already Saturday here too.
It's Saturday, yes, but I'm like, brah. Every Sunday we're gonna have to do it at 1:00 again. By the way, it'll be one. Only because I'm doing a Leonard Nimoy appreciation stream. But yes, so 1 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time on Sunday. Right. But normally we do it at 11. So. And Roberto, if you become a member of the channel, Roberto hosts our
I think we're going to do it every other week, right? So I think next weekend we'll be doing another Spoiler Saturday, so we're looking forward to one of those. Yeah,
but I would have to say this Midnight Metal stream, the longest stream I've ever done in my entire life, is pretty fucking metal, man. It's pretty good, and I would say thank you to the both of you. This is
sure thing. Anytime.
Amazing. And I you know what? I know it was random, but it turned out well. So
great.
Thanks you
for
both.
Having us.
We were available.
Strangely. I will.
Good to see you, Dieter.
I will let you both go.
See you, BGS members tomorrow.
Yeah. Do you guys have anything to say to the Post-Geek Singularity? Do you have words?
Jede Person, die du triffst, hat eine Story zu erzählen, die du noch nicht die du noch zuhören musst. Alles, was du tun musst, ist zuhören.
Buenas noches a todos los miembros del Post-Geek Singularity. Nos vemos la próxima semana.
Perfecto.
We're the most international people ever. All right, gents. I will see you later.
Bye, guys.
Okay. Bye, guys.
Wow. I don't know what to say. What a great stream this has been. Crazy. And thank you for bearing with me. I cannot believe we are 3.5 hours into the stream. Let me go back, and I hope you don't. It's just me. And by the way, I'll admit it flat out. I don't know what I'm sounding like, but I can only imagine I must sound a little in my cups, as Davion said in the first episode of Dota, Dragon's Blood, which I worked on. So if you are an adult anime fan, you should watch it. So anyway, first of all, let me just thank everybody for being here. What a great stream. Thanks for all the support. I mean, really, it's been amazing. And Ash Chauhan says, the start of Zack Snyder's Justice League was like reading scripture. The day the Superman died, his screams of agony reverberated throughout the universe. Such mythic imagery, almost as mythic as the reverberations from your metal, yeah, fuck metal, yeah. Okay, let me just, okay. I do not want my, even though I cut my hair, it's not looking so metal, but I just want to say that I don't want to downplay the power of metal. I don't want to turn it into a joke or punchline. The fact is that heavy metal, whether it's music or film or a state of mind, the thing about heavy metal is it's all about unbridled power and enthusiasm and love. If you are fucking metal, man, that means you're living your best self. You are transforming into the person you've always wanted to be, the person that was held back, and the fucking music, the fucking metal let you be who you want to be. I don't want to forget that. So even me going, yeah, fuck yeah, metal, man, I want to make sure everyone understands that this show, Midnight Metal, is about a state of mind. It's about being who you really are. No one will tell you that you can't be who you fucking really are. That's what's fucking metal. Ah! I just want to throw that out there so, you know, we're all on the same page. So, anyway, that said, Ash, you're right. That's what it was. I mean, the thing about Zack Snyder, it is like being in church, and that's what he's going for. What I don't understand is what people don't. He is totally like it's a funeral dirge or whatever. He's completely, Zack Snyder's completely going for the whole religious aspects of it all. Like, and I'm there for it. I'm there for it. Like, the fact that people don't get that, I don't understand why they don't get it. Richard K sends in a super chat and says, RoboCop versus Terminator, who wins? Richard. Okay. A good question. But I would say that RoboCop wins because Terminator is on a singular mission, which is to find John Connor. And if he comes back, RoboCop would eventually be able to figure out, I'm going to put a bullet in the CPU. So I give it to RoboCop. Even though Terminator might be more formidable, but Terminator is too myopic in his thinking. So, you know. Richard Case says, Thorn Oakenshield versus Aragorn, who wins? Bruh, come on. Aragorn is too serene. Thorn would get angry. You can make Thorn angry. And Aragorn's like, I'll listen. You know, I'll listen to you. And then Aragorn, if it has to be verses or whatever, Aragorn would kill him. So, He would. Swack. Cal says, look, man, this whole stream turned into an ad for your... and by the way, rightfully so, for your Etsy store. Swack, S''WAK, props. Swack Prop says, you guys are awesome. I dare say it. Fucking metal as fuck! Fuck yeah! Emma Bannon, we already answered that, Emma. By the way, I love you, Emma. Richard K says, will we see Ian McKellen as Gandalf in the Lord of the Rings? No, Gandalf cannot be in the Lord of the Rings show. He's not there. He doesn't exist. Well, he might exist, but nope. Pre-Gandalf. The Lord of the Rings show is in the Second Age. No, Gandalf. Gary from Nerdrotic will set you straight. He'll tell you why not. But no, we won't. Josh Hill sent in a very nice super chat. Josh, thank you. Thank you very much. But I feel bad. I like no question. I don't know what to tell you. Paul, why are you up? Paul says, I didn't think the Snyder Cut was very hardcore, Rob, but Aquaman having Nordic fangirls sniffing his sweater, now that was effing metal. You know what? You're right. I understand you don't like the show, but if I could have Nordic fangirls sing songs, look, he was a god. He's going off and in the water. Who doesn't want... I imagine that for me, it was like Bjork. Bjork was going to... Or even before Bjork was Bjork, she was part of the Sugar Cubes. I mean, can you imagine having the Sugar Cubes sing you a song? Pretty great. Ash Chowan says, personally speaking, Kong... Okay. Bruh. Here's the thing. A lot of people... I don't understand the fealty to Kong. What is it with everyone? Why does everyone love Kong? Why am I like you want me to pull the race card and be like I'm like the adopted white Jewish kid that is Team Godzilla? 'Cause I am. I'm Team Godzilla. Look, I like King Kong, but the guy Kong was shot off the Empire State Building with bullets. Godzilla was borrowed by the denizens of Planet X to fight Ghidorah. Like, they borrowed him, even though it was a ruse, but still, he was borrowed by aliens. Why am I seeing such little support for Godzilla? This is my dude. I don't own a Godzilla figure of any kind. Do you know why? Because Godzilla is way cooler than King Kong will ever be. He's just a big primate. He's just a big ape. Look at this. Look at this magnificence. Why would you not love Godzilla? I mean, come on, man. It's actually a pretty great figure, to be honest. I love Godzilla, and you should too. I feel that there's a lot of racial bias. Who's cooler? Godzilla or King Kong? Come on, you know the answer. Seriously. By the way, Godzilla has a kid. Minya. Kong doesn't have a kid. So if for nothing else, please, Godzilla's a parent. Don't wish our parent, doesn't survive. It's not nice. It's just not good. Anyway, so personally speaking, says Ash Chauhan, Kong all the way. Godzilla is a nuclear reactor with thunder thighs. Kong doesn't have special abilities like atomic breath. Godzilla vs. King Kong is setting itself up to be eerily the same as BVS, and Kong, like Batman, I feel, will win in the fight. All right, Ash. If that's what you think, fine. I am Team Godzilla all the way, man. All the way. Chuck Philpott says, he sends in a super chat and says, Team Godzilla all the way. Fuck yes. Chuck, you are the man. All right. It is 3:39 a.m. in the morning. I think it's time, ladies and gentlemen, that I end this stream. I want to thank everyone for being here. Midnight Metal, I don't know when I'm going to do another one. It's going to be a surprise. It's not going to be nightly or weekly or anything. Who knows? It might be a day. It might be a week. It might be a month or 10 months. I don't know. This is the second episode of Midnight Metal. It was a fun show. I want to thank everyone for supporting it. It was born out of you guys. Like last night, people like, do it again, Rob. Do it again. So we did it again. I think this was a great show. I really liked it. So I want to thank everyone. I need to go to bed. Like, I need to go curl up with my lady, and the dogs are wondering where the fuck I am. And I want to thank everyone. First of all, I want to thank all of you sincerely for supporting the show via super chats and tips. Very nice. Thank you. You can always write me letters. I mean, I never thought that people would, but if you want to write me a letter, you can go to the Burnettwork.net website, and I guess in the subject header put in Midnight Metal and write me a letter. I mean, I didn't even know this was going to be a thing. Now I've got artwork and music and wow, crazy. And fans. I mean, people are here. Thank you for watching. I very much appreciate it. I want to thank my moderating staff, who is great. Brian Hepburn is here. Like, I never even talked to my moderators about this. I'm just like, this is free-form craziness. As you saw, Dieter and Roberto Suarez, I want to thank them. Had no idea they were going to be on the show. No idea. Brian Hepburn, thank you for coming in and moderating. I can only imagine this show couldn't have been the easiest to moderate, but either way, I want to thank everyone and for being here, all that. And if you like the show, please hit like, even though I think it's kind of lame, everyone says that, but the reason people do, there is a pragmatic reason to like and subscribe to channels, and that's because people will see them more. And, shouldn't everyone watch this stream? My God, of course they should. My God, but yeah. So if you hit like and you share it, or you hit the bell, the notifications go up and people watch the show. Because who wouldn't want to watch this show? Who knows when it come? I don't know when I'm going to do it again. I mean, I can't. I to be honest, I need to cut down on the liquor. Not because I'm an alcoholic. I am, of course. Not because I love alcohol, but ultimately, it's not. I'm getting older. I'm gonna fucking die soon. So, I can't do a show. And people say, "Well, Rob, you can do a show and not drink." I could. The thing is, I don't need to drink. I like to drink. That's different. I don't have a drinking problem. I drink. I get up, I fall down, no problem. No, but seriously, I mean, I want to, live. So, and of course I don't have to, but now I'm confessing, but I like it. And this is like, oh, let me get more whiskey and beer. So anyway, can't do this all. By the way, this vanilla porter is lovely. So if you guys, I really enjoy this. It's very nice. It's a nice drop. But anyway, so that said, I don't know. I was gonna get Elizabeth to come on. I'll get her to come on next time. But anyway, thank you all. It's great. I'm glad everyone loves the show, and I can't believe I'm doing it. Last night I came on, and now it's become a thing. So, all of you, namaste. Thank you very much. And remember, every person you meet has a story to tell that you have yet to hear. All you have to do is listen. And oh wait, people are still sending in things. My God, Louis Terrazas says, "Oh Rob, Campia talked major crap against Godzilla today on his show. Get him, dog." Okay, first of all, John Campia was talking shit against Godzilla? Okay, let me just point out that in the whole history of cinema, how many movies was King Kong in? And 2 of those movies were with Godzilla already. Godzilla has been to space. Godzilla has fought how many kaiju? King Kong is a guy that falls in love with some chick, skates around Central Park, climbs the Empire State Building, and gets gunned down repeatedly. There have been 3 King Kong movies where King Kong was shot down by bullets and fell off a building and died. This has never happened to Godzilla. John Campia is wrong. His loyalties misplaced. I'm sure, look, people might identify with Kong because, well, frankly, he looks close to us. He's a relative. Godzilla is a fucking badass metal motherfucker that has a kid. Kong didn't have a kid. Just remember, if I can impart anything to the people watching this stream, if you're not a hashtag Team Godzilla, you're not doing the work that I expect from most imagination connoisseurs. This is a Team Godzilla channel. If you can't deal with that, I don't know what to tell you. And on that note, kids, I want to say thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of this. And as always, have a better day. And I mean that.